John, quick question. Oh, actually, hang on, sorry, we are recorded.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Football Live, the only place to get your non-stop football action minute by minute as the goals go in. And I've got a good announcement to bring because we already have our first goal of the afternoon.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And that goal comes at Molineux, where Tottenham have taken the lead against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Spurs, who had all the critics against them this week. They've had so much go wrong for them. James Maddison, Romero suspended, Jaminison out to the new year, Van de Ven out to the new year, Udogie also suspended. Everything has gone wrong for them, Matt Smith, but they've gone 1-0 up. Through who?
It's through Brennan Johnson. He hadn't scored a goal in professional football since April of this year, and it's a fantastic goal, a great little bit of build-up from Spurs. It comes from Brennan Johnson, goes back into the centre. It goes again wide to Kulusevski, a little bit of trickery on the right wing, just about to enter that Wolves box. He flicks a nice little flick round the corner to an overlapping Pedro Porro, and Pedro Porro whips a fantastic cross, really low cross, into the feet of Brennan Johnson, who's made a little direct run into the centre of the box, and he's 6 yards out. It's an easy tap-in, and within 3 minutes, Tottenham found themselves 1-0 up. We're 10-minute mark in at the moment. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Matt, do they look like they're missing their players? Obviously, I just mentioned there, so many of their first team was out. James Maddison out for a long time, Van de Ven out for a long time, and then their suspensions as well. Do they look like they're missing those key players?
I mean, every club, when you're missing those sort of big players, you're gonna see it on the pitch. You're gonna see the evidence that maybe the chances aren't getting created and things aren't going their way. But I think in the opening 10 minutes, Josh, you have to say that Tottenham are much the dominant side. Wolves are nowhere near getting a sniff. I think a lot of Tottenham fans will look at the back four and go, well, a lot of these attacks that Wolves might have, I'm a little bit shaky. But at the moment, Tottenham are standing firm. They're 1-0 up early in the game. Can they ride it out?
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. We'll back to you shortly to discuss that and further. We're going to go to the Championship now, where Sunderland and Birmingham are facing off. It's a trip for Joe Bellingham, not Jude Bellingham, Bellingham's younger brother. He used to play for Birmingham before Sunderland bought him in the summer, and he's facing his old club today, Luke Charles. So 10 minutes gone there, 0-0 at the Stadium of Light.
Yes, good afternoon, Josh, and good afternoon to the Football Live listeners. Yes, it's 0-0, as you say, with 10 minutes gone at the Stadium of Light. It's been a fairly cagey start, fairly nervy from both sides. Sunderland do look the more dominant, but as you'd expect from the home team. But no real clear-cut chances. The only thing of note so far has been a brief injury stoppage for Ollie Burke, who was taken down in a heavy collision off the ball while running through in behind for Birmingham. But for Wayne Rooney, this is going to be a real good chance now to hopefully put his imprint on the team, where he's after his controversial appointment as the new Birmingham City boss, he's unable to find a victory for a team that were doing fairly well in the first few matches in the Championship. So coming up today against the Sunderland side that will also be looking to turn around a recent scupper in poor form and results. This is a real opportunity here for him to make a mark in the Championship. But as you say, 10 minutes gone, Sunderland 0, Birmingham 0.
Yes, and Luke, and we'll just quickly talk about Wayne Rooney in terms of, it was a bit of a weird appointment, wasn't it? Much was made of it, a lot of criticism, the fact that he was appointed as Birmingham manager. And like you say, since that point, he's only not won in his 4 games charged. But last time out against Ipswich, they were much improved before. They were leading, weren't they? They were leading 2-0 before a brace in the 75th minute, brought back 2-2. What did you make of his appointment in Birmingham? And it was a bit of an odd one, wasn't it?
I think it's very much in vein with the new direction of the club. It's almost a Hollywood signing, bringing him over from DC United. What with the Tom Brady influence now in the club, it's a kind of a new direction that Birmingham City are trying to move into. But yeah, he's clearly trying to make some drastic changes to a team that were fairly well structured, and he's been even critical today of the substitutions in that game against Ipswich, where they ultimately, he feels, let the side down. So he's been reliant fairly recently on Jay Stansfield, who's been excellent for them up front. But yeah, time will tell. He didn't necessarily pull up many trees at DC United, but this is a step up, I would say, in terms of quality and expectation for him. He had a fairly positive experience while at Derby County, but this is a slightly different kettle of fish, I think, for him, where he's going to have to really now prove his mettle and show that actually the football that his teams can play on a pitch is worthwhile. His appointment as their head coach for Birmingham City, and hopefully for the long term for them to bring about some success for the club.
Yeah, well, we'll see, Luke. Thank you very much for that. Obviously, we have our 12:30 games. Wolverhampton v Tottenham and Sunderland v Birmingham, which we'll be covering for you. We have other games around Europe and in the Premier League. I'll start with the games in Europe that we are covering today. At 2 o'clock, we've got Lecce v AC Milan. That is being covered by Richard Bond. And Richard, I think you've got some team news for us.
Not quite the team news yet, but we are expecting a really good game here at Stadium in Lecce this afternoon. And I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic affair, considering both sides we're both looking for a win after not winning in the last couple of games. So good afternoon, everybody. Anyway, and it's the Stadio Via del Mar where we're building towards an interesting battle between out of form Lecce and third place Milan. Title contenders Milan has slipped 6 points behind arch rivals Inter in recent weeks, having hit a mini blip domestically, dropping points in the last 3 games. However, Wednesday's 2-1 victory over PSG in the Champions League would have done wonders for confidence for Stefano Pioli's side, looking to get back to winning ways in Serie A, and compound more agony on Lecce's side without a win in 6 games. Looking to bounce back in the evergreen forward, Olivier Giroud is been fantastic this season for Milan. 6 goals he's got this season, but it's Rafael Leao who's been the thorn for Lecce in recent times. 4 in his last 3, including scoring twice in his last 2 visits to this ground. So it's going to be an interesting one this afternoon. I'm predicting a close game, but Milan, I expect to try and get back to winning ways, 6 points behind. But yeah, team news in about probably 10-15 minutes, I would have thought, Josh.
Yeah, very, very sorry about that, Richard. I got very confused. Just throwing you under the bus there. No team is Richard Bond, but very, very well styled out, I do have to say. Sorry about that, Richard. It won't happen again. Right, there we go. Well, that means I'm not going to be going to him. I'm not going to make the same mistake with Matthew Key with Stuttgart v Dortmund. That's coming up at 2:30. In the Premier League games as well that we have got for you later on, we've got Arsenal v Burnley. Arsenal hosting Burnley at the Emirates Stadium. Burnley beating Arsenal 1-0 at the Emirates Stadium in December 2020, but that's their only victory in the previous 18 meetings in all competitions. We have Crystal Palace v Everton, where Crystal Palace only victory in the past 17 Premier League meetings was by 3-1 December 2021. And we have got Manchester United v Luton as well. And the fact that Manchester United won 18 consecutive home games against Luton dating back to 1999. That one is at Old Trafford, and the one we are covering right now is Wolves v Tottenham. So let's go back to Matthew Key then, because we're saying, Matthew, the Wolves are coming back into it after Tottenham's bright start.
Yeah, Wolves are just edging it a little bit. They're having a lot more of the ball now. I think at the first 10 minutes it was maybe 80% possession to Tottenham. It's just dropped down to about 64% possession. You know, a lot of the ball, a lot of the times that Tottenham are coming forward, it's breaking down a little bit sort of in their own half in a way. And question marks around that sort of defence and the sort of the holding midfielders, maybe a little bit of breaking down. They haven't got the likes of Romero and Van der Ven just to shore things up. But Wolves have had 3 shots in the opening 17 minutes. Not a single one on target though, but just goes to show that Wolves are, they're no mugs. They're not going to, roll over and let Tottenham run over them. They've had a corner that was cleared away. They've had shots that have gone over the bar. So Tottenham have only had 1 shot, and it's a goal. So Tottenham maybe wanting to try and get forward a bit more, get a few more chances at goal and test this keeper properly. 17 minutes played, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Goal at the Stadium of Light.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Sunderland taking the lead with 16 minutes gone. There is now Sunderland 1, Birmingham 0, and not the start Wayne Rooney would have wanted. We spoke about how he really hasn't enjoyed a great start to life at Birmingham City, and it's got a lot worse with that Sunderland goal, Luke Charlton.
Yes, indeed it has. And it's their old player, Joe Bellingham, coming back to haunt Birmingham City from a corner that's taken exquisitely by Jack Clarke, Sunderland's other brilliant prospect. It's whipped into the box, into the area. There's a bit of pinball, but Joe Bellingham is just in the right place to put his right foot on it and poke it home to give Sunderland a well-deserved lead. Birmingham have looked really shaky at the back, actually, and with John Ruddy having to step up slightly higher, he was saying in pre-match quotes to say from what Rooney had been telling him in training that they want to step a bit higher up on the ball and kind of own possession a bit further forward on the field and have the defenders playing a bit higher. That they look really nervy playing out from the back, and that's what led to the corner that has now led to this brilliant opener for Sunderland. And as things stand, it's really looking like Sunderland are going to be the ones that are really going to hammer home the excellent effort they're putting in here and hopefully keep pushing on here and find a second goal at the moment. So as it stands now, 17 minutes gone, Sunderland 1, Birmingham 0.
The Bellingham brothers, they're special talents, aren't they, Luke?
Yes, yeah, their family must be so proud of them, and that gene pool is very, very, very high quality in terms of footballing ability. And I think if Job can have any sort of impact for Sunderland in the same way that Jude has had for Dortmund and Real Madrid in their short professional careers so far for both of them, he'll be doing an excellent job and really, really be endearing himself to Sunderland fans for sure.
Sunderland as well. I mean, one of you made it their season. They lost so many players in the summer after they got into the playoffs last season. They're there and thereabouts, only 2 points off Preston, who currently occupy sixth. Well, actually, they don't anymore. They moved at the table yesterday with their win over Blackburn. I mean, it'd be great to see Sunderland back in the Premier League, wasn't it? They're a staple of the Premier League. We do really miss them. It'd be fantastic to see them back.
Yes, for sure. I mean, they'll be looking enviously at their city neighbours in Newcastle United, seeing how well and the level of success that they're experiencing currently, and the fact that they were so close last season potentially to coming back up through the playoffs but didn't quite manage it. They're now looking to rebuild for a second season and kind of push on a little bit further. They currently have, as you say, a lot of injuries that they're experiencing, so the side is slightly changed. But with players of Joe Bellingham's quality and Jack Clarke's quality, there's a real opportunity here for them to hopefully move forward and push up the table. It's been a stuttering start, I'd say, to the season. They've had really good opening few games. I think they were unbeaten in their first 5, but they're without a win in the last 4 currently, having drawn 1 and lost 3. So this is a really positive start for them. With Bellingham's 3rd goal of the season, it's hopefully something they can now build on and really ultimately ramp the pressure up on Birmingham and for Wayne Rooney in particular.
Thank you, Luke. We're going to go to Wolverhampton now, to the Molineux Stadium, because injuries plagued Tottenham on Monday. It looks like things haven't got much better, Matt Smith, because Pedro Porro is down on the ground. Is it going to take him off?
I don't think it looks like a serious one. It's João Gomez was tracking Pedro Porro when Porro had the ball, and Pedro Porro's on a swivel, tried to turn away, and João Gomez, I don't think it's intentional, I think it's an accidental, but he's sort of almost scraped his studs all down the back of Pedro Porro's Achilles, just behind his ankle. And Pedro Porro, especially with the temperatures as they are right now, it's going to be cold, it's going to be painful to Pedro Porro, but he was down for a good 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, receiving a little bit of treatment, but I think he is able to continue. But 21 minutes played, Wolves are really coming into this game now. They've had a couple of half chances here and there, just trying to test out this makeshift defence. It's becoming a little bit frantic. It's Wolves 0, Tottenham 1 on the 21-minute mark.
It promises to be an action-packed afternoon of football tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, right here on Brila FM. 5 big matches in the Premier League, including Chelsea against Manchester City. That's the late kick-off. Before that, 4 other big games. West Ham United against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool look to close in on the leaders with a home game against Brentford. Aston Villa's home form is second to none. They entertain Fulham, and Brighton take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Dean Kilford, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Get involved in NairoBet Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Chelsea take on Man City and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Blues or the Citizens, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on Chelsea versus Man City, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5, must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What you're talking about now. They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
Take Breela anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Breela with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Breela app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brilla FM every Saturday and Sunday.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM.
Yes.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is John Kane, not Josh Bailey. Josh Bailey will be with us very, very shortly. We're just facing some sort of technical issues here, so I do apologise for that, but we can't go on with John Kane, I suppose, for the time being. Tell you what, the first thing we'll do is 25 minutes been played at the Molineux. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Tottenham 1. That Brennan Johnson early goal. Let's go to Matt Smith and tell us, Matt, you mentioned a few minutes ago that Wolves coming back into the game, and I'm noticing the stats. It's 4 shots not on target for Wolves, and it's only that 1 shot for Spurs that they managed to score the goal from.
Yeah, I think that's sort of telling us the story of this game, really. I think Wolves are just ever so slightly coming into this game more and more by the moves that they're coming forward. Tottenham are having to hold the line a little bit, weather the storm. Wolves are becoming a little bit more confident going forward, a little bit more trickery going down the wings. Pedro Porro's having to sort of really defend very well for his team. But I think there was a big shout about 2 minutes ago, a big shout for Wolves. It was Yi-Hwan Chan who was through on goal. It looked like Ben Davies got a little bit too physical, and the Wolves man, number 11 for Wolves, he went down. It looked like a last man challenge. I think it would have been a little bit harsh, but he was absolutely furious on the floor when he went down. He was talking to the referee for a good minute and a half afterwards, saying, "Why don't you give me that?" Ben Davies maybe just had to do his job and keep that striker away from Vicario. But it is still Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, 26-minute mark, but Tottenham just holding on a little bit.
I'm just going to pass on to Josh Bailey in a second, but I just want to ask you a quick question, if I may. I'm sure you've seen the game on Monday night, Spurs Chelsea. Is that a kind of a weird line to defend? Well, we've seen it so many times there, didn't we? About 7-8 players all in the same line and halfway through. Is that something a bit different that we haven't seen for quite a while?
I think so. I think that, now Ange has got this way of playing that is so accustomed to him, and people are saying, Ange ball. There's a term of Ange ball now, is that that have that high line, and everyone's sort of pressed into that second half, into the attacking half, and that, believe it or not, is how they were almost caught out by that Juan chance for Wolves about 2 minutes ago. They ended up with Ben Davies almost behind him, having to give him a little tug from behind and say, "Look, you're not going anywhere." So it has its risks, the high line. It has its risks, but I think it's high risk, high reward. That's how Ange likes to play.
I'm stepping back in now. Thank you very much, John Kane. I mean, John, you asked a little question. How dare you ask one more question?
I know. You know what? I was so tempted because that game on Sunday, on Monday night, was so weird, isn't it? It's one of the craziest games I've ever seen, Josh. And it's hard not to mention it. It was on the newspapers. It was on social media. It's the tactics, with playing with 9 men, isn't it? And I think Spurs fans, I think they'd be happy with that, wouldn't they? Really, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I've never seen a reaction quite like it. Really, the fact that the home team was being applauded off, and actually the home team came with more credit than the actual away team itself. It's absolutely incredible, to be honest. I've not seen quite seen a game like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the funny part is some of the rivals, Tottenham rivals, are saying, yeah, you can applaud as much as you want. You still haven't got a trophy yet, so they've got a point, haven't they?
They have got a point. They have got a point. Thank you very much, John Kane. Thank you very much, Matt. We're going to go to Sunderland now, talk to Luke Jolton, because it's absolute end-to-end stuff there. Goal and clearance and the post.
Yeah, it's really come alive in the last few minutes, this game, with Sunderland having a really good chance to get a second goal, again through Joe Bellingham. It's a ball that's whipped in from the right-hand side, and the Birmingham City defenders are unable to really communicate or put any sort of composure together and are unable to clear it. And Bellingham has a chance to turn in the box and poke the shot with his left foot that agonisingly just clips the side of the post and doesn't unfortunately make it into the back of the net to give Sunderland a 2-0 lead. But then Birmingham start to come back into the game slightly. They have some really good composure and some passing in the midfield, and a cute, equally weighted ball passed through into Ollie Burke into the box. He has a bit of a pop shot at the goal, and it's slowly rolling in towards the net, looking like an easy save, and Stansfield is able to run on and slightly nick it and look for the bottom corner on the left-hand side of the goal, but there's Huggins on the line for Sunderland to clear it away, and they immediately mount a counter-attack, and Jack Clark is in the box and gets to the byline, but unfortunately isn't able to get a ball across the goal and across back into the middle of the box. He's crowded out by a couple of Birmingham defenders. It's quieting down slightly now, just because there's been a slight niggle injury to Patrick Roberts. I'm not 100% sure of the extent of that, but he's been down on the field and receiving some treatment for that from an earlier incident with Bakuna. So I'll give you some more information on that as and when it comes through. But yeah, now we're carrying on here with a little bit more energy, a little bit more impetus from the away side, and 28 minutes gone. It's Sunderland 1, Birmingham 0.
Thank you, Luke Johnson. Let's go back to Matt Smith now. Just talk a bit more about Wolves, Tottenham. Matt, in terms of Spurs, and actually we'll start with Wolves. I mean, they're very topsy-turvy, aren't they? They've seen some really good stuff played by Gary O'Neill, and they are improving game week by game week. But then see some moments where they're a little bit off. They're a weird team, aren't they? They're odd. They can't seem to get some consistency. But before I do go to you, Matt, we do have a goal in the Stadium of Light.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it is that end-to-end stuff that Luke has been talking about. Well, it's now 1-1 in that game. 30 minutes gone. Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1. Wayne Rooney will be very, very pleased with that one. His team getting back into it. And his team finally showing a little bit of quality in that game. Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1. We will now go to... Well, we will go to Matt Smith just to talk a little bit about Wolves Tottenham. Just go back. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Wolves, Matt?
Yeah, I think you got it right. I think they need a bit of consistency. They are a topsy-turvy team. They can have fantastic results and can have fantastic performances. I think they've beaten Manchester City, but they've lost to Sheffield United. So they've beaten top of the table. They've lost to bottom of the table. So, they lost 2-1 away to Sheffield United. And that was Sheffield United's first 3 points of the season. So it epitomises Gary O'Neill's time at Wolves. It's topsy-turvy. In this game so far, 31 minutes played, they're looking all right, Josh. I have to give them some sort of positive news for Wolves fans is that they're not out of this game yet.
Let's go to Luke Charlton now to tell us about that Birmingham goal.
Yes, and it's now 1-1. Miyoshi with the goal for Birmingham City. He's hardly touched the ball in the first half so far, as the play's sort of gone past him, but he's the only one to react to a loose ball in the box and run onto it and slam it home with his left foot into the top corner. Sunderland kind of fell asleep a little bit, really. It was simple passage of play. There was a lot of build-up in the middle of the park, but a ball deflected off a defender. Jay Stansfield was able to run out wide with the ball, and he passed it back into the area, but no defender for Sunderland seemed to react, and Miyoshi was able to run in unmarked and just put it home. And as you say, yeah, the game is well and truly back in the balance now. Wayne Rooney will be really impressed with the way that his side have built on going behind early and pushed themselves back into this game. And it's a bit of good fortune here to have this opportunity. But yeah, they've taken it, and now it's 1-1. And in the 30th minute, Sunderland won, Birmingham won.
In the modern game, it's very hard to tell what would be a red card and what wouldn't. And there's been so many chat over the recent weeks about the red card discussion. If you slow things down enough, it's always going to look bad. And we've just seen another example there, Matt Smith, about Hwang Hee-chan. Potentially should have been sent off for a kick out. And by today's rules, he should be gone.
Absolutely right, Josh. I tell you what, it's a little bit of frustration. That seems to be a good battle down the left wing. Hee-chan Hwang and Pedro Porro are having it out with each other all the time. And it's Pedro Porro goes down just in front of the Wolves man. And I think there's maybe a little bit of tangle, a little bit of frustration. And Hwang kicks out. And I think, goodness me, I dare say it, when a big side like Tottenham, if Tottenham have one of their players kick out like that, it's straight to VAR. But no VAR check, no yellow card. I think the referee wants to maybe limit the amount of cards in this game. But just before you come to me as well, a decent chance for Wolves, probably their best chance of the game. Wolves found themselves, again, a little bit scrappy, but they found themselves in the final third, coming down the right wing. Mario Lemina found himself in the box, but wide, and he hit a great shot across the face of the goal and forced a good save from Guglielmo Vicario. It's the first time he's been properly tested. It's their first shot on target, and that's a little sign that maybe Wolves are just edging ever so closer to getting an equaliser in this game. It's Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
As for Tottenham, I mean, you were saying that Wolves are gradually getting back into the game. The defence has also has had a lot of casualties. They're now playing a back four of Porro, Dyer, Davies, and Emerson, which is a back four which kind of just strikes hearts into John Kane and fellow Spurs fans. How have they held out so far?
Well, I mean, the main thing is they haven't conceded. I think Tottenham fans will look at this and go, right, we haven't conceded. We've still got another 10, maybe 12 minutes of this half. We can see it out till half time. But going forward, Tottenham are very, very clinical almost. They've had, I think, one or two shots, and they've succeeded in putting away those chances. Brennan Johnson early on in the game getting the early lead, but it is that back four looks a little bit makeshift, as you say. As Postecoglou came out before this game and said, look, these are the only sort of senior defenders that we have available, so this is what we have to deal with. He's not one to make excuses, and Postecoglou. I think he will deal with the team that he's got, and he'll play any 11 that he can put out. And I think so far they've been okay. They've coped quite well. Wolves don't look massively dangerous going forward, but all it takes is one chance, Josh.
I guess that's been Wolves' real complaint, hasn't it, over the last 2 years, is their ability in front of goal. I mean, it seems like it's sorted out under Gary O'Neill, and actually they've scored in 12 successive top flight home matches since 1-0 loss to Gary O'Neill's Bournemouth in February. So they've cut out the going forward. I mean, what have you said they've kind of been blunt up front. I mean, Hwang Hee-chan's probably the most prolific player up top. I mean, they miss that striker though, don't they, at times?
Yeah, they absolutely do. Hee-chan Hwang is a wide player. It's very rare that you see him on his own up top or as a striker partner. You've got Jean-Ric Bellegarde, who's I think a 25-year-old player that's come from the French league. He's not going to be one that scores all the goals. You've got Mateus Cunha, who I think prefers to play off of a striker, maybe as that number 10 role, but he's playing as the out-and-out striker today. So they've got Kalajic on the bench, they've got Fabio Silva on the bench. I won't be surprised to see one of them, if not both of them, to come on at some point in this game, especially if they find themselves 1-0 down into the latter stages of the second half. But I think Wolves are okay going forward. Like you say, they just need that last little clinical bit of striking in the final third.
And what about Hwang Hee-chan as well? Like, I mean, he struggled a little bit last year. He had glimpses of where he's brilliant, but he really seems like he's found his feet under Gary now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a lot of comments earlier on in the season from Pep Guardiola saying that he didn't know who he was or whatever. I think a bit of controversy around who he was, and Pep Guardiola didn't really know who he was. And I don't think a lot of pundits or managers or people watching the football would maybe know too much about Hee-chan Hwang, but they certainly know a lot about him now.
And let's talk about his fellow South Korean Hyun-min Son. I mean, he's having a phenomenal season, isn't it? I mean, many people said, can he step up? Are they going to replace Harry Kane? It seems like Son is that replacement, and really, we shouldn't be surprised. He's been, I feel like as you get older, wingers, they do transition better into a striker. We saw, very similar to Cristiano Ronaldo, started his career out wide and up being a striker, and Son seems like he's fitting that billing well. He's a fantastic finisher, and he's flourishing up top, isn't he?
He absolutely is. He is ageing like a fine wine, as some would say. He's 2 goals away from matching his Premier League tally for the whole of last season. So it just goes to show how prolific and how well he is doing leading that line. He's been given the captaincy off of Hugo Lloris. So, there's no pressure. but he's dealing with it quite well. Ange Postecoglou is happy to give him the captaincy, is happy to make him lead that line and replace Harry Kane, and I think they are doing very well with Heung-min Son through the middle.
And what about Tottenham, with all those injuries, Matt, with all, everything that kind of really went wrong, losing James Maddison, using Van der Ven till the new year? Has Postecoglou brought himself a little bit of leeway? Obviously, they've been absolutely incredible, haven't they, under him, and, leading the way, and he's won 3. He won another Premier League Manager of the Month yesterday, so that's 3 in a row now, 3 months in a row. If things were to go a little bit sour with those injuries, with the troubles he's facing, do you think that he would be free from criticism?
I think you can say that Spurs fans absolutely adore him, and I would say every manager is due to get some sort of criticism, but I think Ange is well away from any sort of criticism. It showed last week. His team lost 4-1 against a London rival, and I think if that's any other manager who maybe hasn't had a good a start to the season as Postecoglou has, I think maybe you're hearing boos ring around the stadium. But like you said, it was applause, and it was cheering almost, saying it was just a bit of an off game. We can deal with that. So I think that just goes to show that he is well away from getting any serious criticism. Tottenham fans love him, and I think neutrals love him as well. He's a big character, and he's bringing some fantastic football to the Premier League.
Thank you, Matt Smith. Let's go to Sunderland now, where it's 1-1 between Sunderland and Birmingham. We need to get that goal news from Luke Charlton, which we obviously did. So Luke, just tell us about Sunderland, how that game's gone since.
It's fairly calm now, actually, after all the excitement of the end-to-end play that was earlier in the game that led to Birmingham's equaliser. Birmingham have really grown into the game, and they do look a lot more apt on the ball now than they did at the start of the match. And Sunderland, there was a period of them looking a bit shell-shocked, I think, from conceding from a point of almost complete dominance from them. They didn't really feel like there was going to be any threat from Birmingham in the first 15 minutes, but it's really opened up a bit now, and Sunderland are now starting to actually decide that they want to play a bit more football. So we'll hopefully be seeing some more goals before the end of the half. But it's been a really interesting game so far, and I think both coaches, Tony Mowbray and Wayne Rooney, will be impressed and equally frustrated at points from both of their sides' performances so far.
Thank you, Luke Charlton. Let's go to Richard Bond now. I asked him for the team news about half an hour ago. Now, he didn't have the team news then, but he does have it now. So, Richard, take away.
Yeah, welcome back to the Stadio Via del Mar, where we build towards interesting battle between out-of-form strugglers Lecce and third-place AC Milan. We touched upon earlier on, Milan have slipped 6 points behind City rivals Inter in recent weeks, dropping points in the last 3 games. In a way today, though, a Lecce side without a win in 6 league games. Looking to bounce back in the league, Pioli's named a team which shows 3 changes from the side that lost 1-0 at San Siro last weekend against Udinese, with Hernandez coming in at the back, Tommaso Pobega into midfield, whilst there's a chance for Nigerian forward Samuel Chukwueze up top, with Rafa Leao and Olivier Giroud partnering him. Hosts of strugglers of late. After a great start, were under manager Roberto De Verza. They collected 11 points out of possible 15. Since then, it's just been 2 points in the last 6 games, as their struggles have mounted. Despite performing admirably last weekend on Football Live, as we heard, against Roma, where they took the lead, they eventually lost 2-1 to Roma. Be another loss, despite goalkeeper Vladimir Falcao saving Romelu Lukaku's penalty amongst several other good stops. They look to Zambian attacker Lamek Banda today for creative duties after getting 4 assists already this season to his name, beaten only by 2 midfielders in the division. De Versa has opted just 1 change, with Italian forwards Gabriel Scrifeza coming in for injured Swedish Pontus Almqvist, who has a thigh problem. 10 games since Lecce beat Milan here back in 2006. Only defeat Milan have incurred in the last 23 meetings between the two sides, where the home side have lost just 3 of the last 12 on the home soil. Interesting battle perhaps. Lecce and Milan around 35 minutes to go.
Richard, let's talk about AC Milan quickly, because they've really struggled in the last few games. They haven't won in 4 now. They're now 6 points off their city rivals Inter Milan at the top of the league. So this win will go a long way in trying to halve that deficit. They've kind of turned things around in the Champions League. They didn't score a goal until they faced until they've done. They didn't score a goal until they beat PSG in midweek. Until they beat PSG at the San Siro in the midweek. Slowly turning things around there. What do you make of all of it? What do you make of AC Milan? They're sort of just fading away a little bit.
Well, it's a strange one with Milan because they've got so many talented players. It's a big loss, really. They've got Christian Pulisic out injured at the moment. He was a big signing for them in the summer. Started off really well, but as we've seen at Chelsea, so many injury problems with the American. Champions League, yeah, it's such a hard, tight group. So winning at PSG now is a massive result. Opens that group back up again. But in the league, three kind of games where they haven't picked up points in. Yes, you can say. They threw away a lead against Napoli. They finished 2-2, and they lost to Juventus. But there's the Udinese defeat. They hadn't won before that. Udinese was just a bit of a surprise, really, and they're going to look today, if they're to mount a title challenge, to really get a result against a Lecce side who do struggle for goals. To be honest, they've been finding it hard in the last few games, but you never know in these kind of types of matches. Interesting one to come.
Thank you, Richard Bond. We'll be with you in about another hour. That game kicks off at 2:30. That game kicks off at 2. So 45 minutes. We'll be with Richard Bond. Let's get to Luke Charlton now, because the Sunderland and Birmingham game is definitely cooking there. It seems like a fantastic game to be watching, Luke. End-to-end stuff. Both teams are 1-1 right now, but how long for?
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been a dull early kickoff in the Championship today. There's been a few cards and a few chances. Bakuna, who was I mentioned earlier, was engaged in a bit of a battle with Patrick Roberts that saw Roberts come off the worst and was down for some treatment on the pitch. They reignited their feud, as you would call it, a little bit earlier from a corner kick that resulted in a foul from Bakuna that Roberts didn't take too kindly to, and actually ended up being booked, even though he was the player that was fouled. So Bakuna's very lucky there to escape the booking, but the play carried on, and a few moments later Birmingham were up the other end of the pitch, and Stansfield was in the area again, free in the box, played in by Miyoshi, and tried to turn on the spot, but unfortunately couldn't make a clean connection with the ball, and it gave Sunderland a chance to come back in with their defenders to make a last ditch block and clear the ball away. It's a quite cagey affair at the moment, a lot of late tackles and a lot of frustration, I think, from both sides, where they're trying to really put their mark on the match, and Birmingham have just won a corner. So I'll come back to you if there's any more goals, but we're 42 minutes played now, and it's Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1.
Not much going on around the leagues respectively at the moment. The only real game starting right now is between in the La Liga, and it is between Rayo Vallecano and Girona. It's 1-0 right now, currently, to Rayo Vallecano, who are beating Girona. 16 minutes gone in that game that has just started in that game. And Girona, actually, who obviously need to win that game for them. They're the top of the league. The top of the league, Girona, they started brilliantly, but shockingly losing 1-0 there. That is a real shock result. And we'll see what happens there. Let's go to Matt Smith then. 5 minutes added on time between Tottenham and Wolves. How's it going there? Are we going to see a goal before half-time, Matt, or are both teams going to go into the break as it remains?
Well, Wolves, I said, for the past 20, 30 minutes, Wolves have been knocking on the door, and just as you come to me, they've just had a free kick given to them. It was a foot race. The ball was played down Tottenham's left side, and it was Nelson Semedo, the right back, versus Emerson Royale, the left back, and they were going, shoulder to shoulder. Emerson Royale dives in and tries to win the ball and put it out for a throw-in or a corner, but Nelson Semedo does get to the ball first, and Emerson Royale gets the first booking of the day. 46 minutes played, like you say, 5 added minutes. Wolves are camped out in the Tottenham half. Tottenham don't seem to be in too much of a rush to get it out. Wolves are on their 5th corner now. Tottenham have yet to have their first corner of the game. So it just goes to show the last half an hour, Tottenham are, dare I say it, holding on to this lead at the moment. Maybe could be a few fresh legs at half-time. We'll have to see what Ange does at half-time, and we'll have to see what Gary O'Neill does. Maybe he puts on the likes of Kalajic, and maybe puts on Fabio Silva, extra bit of attacking move. We'll have to wait and see. It's Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, with about 3 minutes to go before half-time.
Yeah, Fabio Silva's a strange case, isn't he? I mean, he was brought in relatively young, and he just hasn't picked him at all, has it, at Wolves?
It hasn't really worked out. No, he's had plenty of injuries at the club, and he's come back and had a little bit of a medium sort of a mid return from injury. Then he's got injured again, so he's had a terrible time with injuries. He hasn't really got the run of the green, and that's why the likes of Mateus Cunha have been trusted to lead the line, even though you'd say he's a number 10 sort of player. So the likes of Kalajic and Fabio Silva, they are out and out number 9s. They're big, solid 6-foot-plus strikers, so they're the sort of out-and-out strikers that Wolves will look to, but Gary O'Neill maybe doesn't trust them enough to start a game against Spurs.
And what about Vicario as well, Matt? I mean, we said he's made a couple of good saves in this game. I mean, he was phenomenal against Chelsea, wasn't he? In the sweep keeper role. He's been a revelation for Tottenham fans, hasn't he?
He has indeed. He has indeed. As a neutral, I think he's a solid replacement for Hugo Lloris. I think they had a little bit of a panic stations when Lloris was fumbling a lot of crosses and fumbling a lot of shots. Tottenham fans were thinking, oh my goodness, who have we got to fall back on? You know, we can't really rely on. I think the times when Lloris started to drop his ability was the Michel Vormer stood at the club. You know, they got Fraser Forster on the bench, who, is fair enough, a decent keeper, but they needed a starting keeper, and I think they've got him. I think he's a solid keeper. And I think Ange Postecoglou is certainly happy with him. The fact that he keeps on starting Premier League matches.
And what about Brennan Johnson with his goal, Matt? I mean, he, like we say, hasn't gotten the score sheet. He actually scored since April, and his last goal he scored was against Wolves. Do you think he'll come good for Tottenham?
I certainly believe so. I think it's been a long time coming to get his name on the scorers list. I think he's arguably been Tottenham's best player in this first half. There's been a second yellow card about 30 seconds ago for Yves Bissouma again, and that means he'll miss the next Premier League match at home to Aston Villa. Again, that's another little problem, I think, for Spurs. That, red cards and yellow cards, just a little bit of disciplinary work to be had there, I believe. But going back to Brennan Johnson, he's got a goal. He's probably been the brightest player going forward for Spurs. And I think he really is a breath of fresh air for Spurs, especially when Maddison is out injured till January.
I mean, that's a big blow, isn't it, for Tottenham now having Bissouma out. So Romera's out for 3 games. Doggy will be back next Premier League game, but Bissouma out yet again with a suspension. That's his 5th yellow card. I mean, maybe what have you thought about Bissouma in this game, actually? Because I'm seeing a lot of things on social media currently about people being very wary of sort of being disappointed with Bissouma's performances since his suspension. Has he played well today, or do you think that criticism is justified?
I think there'll be people that will say that he's maybe not up to scratch at the moment. I think there have been. It reminds me of a little bit of Paul Pogba, where he'll have 10 out of 10 performances, 9 out of 10 performances, and then he'll drop back down to 5 and 6 and just average performances. So it's consistency that's lacking with Yves Bissouma. He was certainly consistent at Brighton, but maybe it's been a bit more pressure at Spurs. I'm not sure. Wolves have had 9 shots on target. 9 shots and with 1 on target. Spurs have had 1 shot, 1 on target. We're just about to go into half-time as we speak. So I think into the second half, Ange Postecoglou's maybe, goodness me, either going to shut up shop and maybe say, right, okay, we weather the storm, or he might want to try and go and get that second goal to maybe put the game to bed. It's 49 minutes played, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
I think we'll see by the fact that I think we saw by the way he approached that Chelsea game, he is not going to shut up shop ever. He will definitely be searching that second goal. Right now, then, currently, Wolves 9 shots, 1 on target. Spurs 1 shot, 1 on target. Very clinical. And that goal obviously came in the second minute. So, a very clinical performance by Tottenham so far. But how long is top performance sustainable? Will Wolves find a way through? You think if they are going to, it's going to have to be in the second half. That game into the 50th minute. Let's go to the stadium Mike quickly to Luke Schultz and Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1. Nearly at half time there. Luke, have you got any updates for us before the half-time whistle goes?
Nothing to report of particular note. It's kind of petering out here to a half-time that both teams will be looking forward to kind of having a respite from the intensity of this first half. There's been a slight injury to Bakuna, actually, and I mentioned before he's had a very involved first half, and I think some of the Sunderland players are not taking very kindly to how he's played so far and some of his heavy tackles that he's put in, and they're probably getting their own back slightly, or maybe some of the altercations he's had with Patrick Roberts. But apart from that, it's very much close to the half time here, and it's looking like both sides will be trying to build on it in the second half and really push for a winner. They both played with a level of intensity that initially wasn't there, I suppose, at the start. A little bit of hesitancy on the ball, particularly from Birmingham, kind of unsure on maybe the game plan that Rooney had implemented for them to play away from home here today. But they've built on it. They look more confident, and now they're going to be really hoping to get a positive result and potentially Wayne Rooney's first win as Birmingham City boss since his appointment. And they'll be confident. They'll be confident. They certainly have the players. They have the ability. But then so does Sunderland. And I think they'll want to put on a performance in the second half that will impress the home fans also. So there's a lot to play for going into the half time here. But we're in the 49th minute now. 1 minute of injury time still to come. It's Sunderland 1, Birmingham City 1.
And to Matt Smith to get the half-time report of Tottenham, Wolves v Tottenham, because the half-time whistle has gone.
Spurs started much the better side and they were rewarded with an early goal. Dejan Kulusevski with a great bit of trickery down the right wing. Pedro Porro overlapped the Swede and whipped a wicked low cross into the box, and there was Brennan Johnson to simply guide it in. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. After the goal, Wolves started edging themselves back into the game, having plenty of shots, but none troubling Vicario in the Tottenham goal until Mario Lemina had the best chance of the game for Wolves. He struck a brilliant shot across the face of the goal from the right and forced a very good save, a low save from Vicario. Overall, the first half has been incredibly scrappy and frantic at times, without either side getting more than 3 or 4 or 5 passes knitted together. Wolves will be going into the break the more positive, I believe. This game doesn't look over. It's half-time at Molineux. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Half-time there. Half-time whistle has just gone between Sunderland and Birmingham. 1-1 there. We will get the half-time report from Luke Charlton when we return. But for now, it is time to go to Nigeria and to FJ and the team.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Yes, welcome back everyone. It's John Kane again. We just have some technical issues with Josh Bailey. We'll be back with him in a few minutes. I think first let's start with the halftime report with Luke Charlton on Sunderland against Birmingham.
Yes, so half-time, it's 1-1, Sunderland, Birmingham City. Sunderland started the match the much more kind of progressive and dominant side, really imposed themselves in the first 10 minutes, and it was them that would make the breakthrough early on. A Jack Clark corner that was expertly crossed in, flicked on at the near post by the Sunderland striker Russin for Joe Bellingham to score his 3rd goal for the club and his 3rd goal in professional football. Now, wouldn't the Birmingham City fans be wishing he was doing it in royal blue? 26 appearances he made for his boyhood club, but he did not score for them on any occasion. But with his time in Sunderland, he's already scored 3 goals, following in the footsteps of his older brother, Jude Bellingham, really making an impression in world football. And hopefully, if he can have an impact like his brother has at Real Madrid, then he'll be looking to really push Sunderland up the table. And that's what they were hoping with a 1-0 lead, really having an impetus in the match and really not feeling too much pressure from Wayne Rooney's Birmingham side. But as the half wore on, they grew back into the match, and some excellent midfield play found Miyoshi free in the box, cross back in from Jay Stansfield, who'd run inside the area. Miyoshi unmarked, fires top left in the 30th minute to bring the game level 1-1. As the half carried on from there, it was very much a level affair with both sides going end to end, really getting a lot more confidence from the fact that they'd scored a goal and were really trying to find their footing in the game. And hopefully now, as we enter the second half, we're really going to push on and hopefully one of these sides can find a winner.
Thank you very much. That was Luke Charlton reporting on from the Stadium of Light. It's just kicked off, in fact, the second half between Sunderland and Birmingham. And it's just kicked off as well at the Molineux, Matt Smith. And straight away, Wolves are into it, haven't they? And a big chance for them.
A massive chance, arguably the biggest chance of this game. I can't see them getting a bigger chance than that. It's 3-on-3. Wolves found themselves sort of really high up the pitch and found themselves almost in the final third, and the Tottenham defenders retreating and heading back towards their own goal. And it was Jean-Ric Bellegarde who was sort of through into the sort of final third. He had Mateus Cunha one side of him, he had Hee Chan Huang one side of him, and no Tottenham defenders have come near him, so they've let him progress, and he's getting right onto the edge of the box, and he hits it, he blazes it right over, and the 2 Wolves players that are forward with him are absolutely furious. It's a huge chance that I think if he'd maybe shifted it wide and given it to one of the other players, they're in with a massive chance to equalise. That would have been a good start to the second half. But 47 minutes played, it's still Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
I mean, Tottenham, as we spoke about earlier, when they were suffering quite a lot of suspensions of injuries, Matt, and but it looks like Big Ange, isn't he? He's sort of like, feels like he's in control at the moment, isn't he? I mean, he got 3 Premier League Manager of the Month for 3 months on the row now, which equals the record, didn't it? Equaled Jurgen Klopp's one back a few years ago, 3 months on the row. But it seems like there's a bit of a confidence in that club, isn't it? With all the injuries, all the suspensions, but still the leader here today. And who knows, if they win today, Chelsea can do them a favour tomorrow out of all teams if they beat Man City and keep them on top for the remainder till after the international week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think Spurs have been relatively lucky. I don't want to, take anything away from Postecoglou and his Spurs side, but I think they've been relatively lucky with the first 3 months. I think they've stayed away from injuries, stayed away from suspensions, and maybe now it's just starting to catch up a little bit. They look a little bit worse for wear here at the moment. It's like I said, it's a makeshift back four. They haven't really got that much depth in terms of on the bench if things go wrong at the back. So it's going to be good to see this month, especially if he can do a fourth one. Goodness me, then he is certainly a record breaker. But handball is taking control, and it seems to be that he's calm. He finds himself 1-0 ahead, but Wolves are, as I say, knocking on the door and wanting to try and get back in this game. But I think you hit the nail on the head, John. He's not panicking. His players certainly aren't panicking. They're still trying to play the way that they've been taught. So I think they look comfortable at the moment, but all it takes is that one chance that Wolves can get a hold of, and Vicario might spill it or whatever they're looking for. But Wolves are looking for something here, John.
Absolutely, they have. Thank you very much, Matt Smith. We'll come back to you very, very short. I can tell you that Girona have just equalised against Rayo Vallecano in the 43rd minute in this Artem Dovbek, who scored for Girona, who are actually having a terrific season, haven't they? They're complete outsiders, the top of the league, they're 31 points, they're above Madrid and Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. And boy, oh boy, they're doing such a great job. I'll tell you who's doing a great job is Sunderland at the moment. They're 1-1 against Birmingham. Way Rooney's Birmingham, in fact, isn't it, Luke Charlton? But we've just seen a yellow card to one of his comrades, haven't it?
Yes, exactly. The game has carried on very much in the same fashion of how the first half ended. Very, very kind of heavy challenges coming in from both sides, really trying to be forceful and physical in the field. And it was Jordan James, the young Welshman, who put in a very late challenge on a Sunderland player. And Dean Whitestone, the referee for today's match at the Stadium of Light, had an easy decision to make there. It was a yellow card, very clearly. And we're keeping pushing on here in the second half, as I say, with both sides really trying to get a foothold and get some dominance in the game. It's a little bit bitty in midfield at the moment, losing the ball, some loose possession, sloppy passing. But I think they're both be confident that they can, if they can get some passages of play together, that they can push on and find a second goal for either side here, and that will be promising for both managers if that's the case. But in the 49th minute, it remains Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1.
Thank you very much. That's Luke Charlton. I'll tell you what, while we're at it, let's just see what's been happening in the Saudi Pro League in the last few games. So let's start with today's games. 4 o'clock Nigerian time, Al Khadud will play Al Hazm. Al Fayha will play Al Ittifaq. Of course, Al Ittifaq managed by Steven Gerrard. And at 7 o'clock Nigerian time, Al Wahda will play Al Nasser, which is outside our range of Football Live, but I'm sure our colleagues in Nigeria will keep you updated with these score lines. However, probably the big news as well from last week is Nuno Espirito Santos, the Al Ittihad manager, ex-Wolves and Tottenham, funny enough, who are both playing each other today. He's been sacked as manager of Al Ittihad, and talking about Julian Lopetegui coming in and taking over from Espirito Santo. Of course, let's not forget that Al Ittihad won the league last season in Saudi Arabia, so they are the reigning champions, but it hasn't been going quite well for them. However, what has been happening with them is actually, as soon as he got sacked, in fact, and Karim Benzema scored a hat-trick yesterday. Goals in the 30th, 8th, 67th and 69th minute. Of course, that added to Cornado's goal to beat Abha by 4-2. The other games as well is Al Hilal versus Al Ta'awan. Of course, Al Hilal are the ones who are actually leading the Saudi Pro League at the moment. They had a goal disallowed by Alexander Mitrovic. It's actually, I was watching that game, and it's very, very odd because Alexander Mitrovic jumped for the ball and scored with a header, but he put out as a push. He more or less leaned over the back of one of the Al Ta'awan's defenders, but he made up for it, Mitrovic, and he scored in the 81st minute, plus a 9th minute injury time by Kanu to beat Al Ta'awan by 2-0. The other games as well, Damak and Al Ahli, they drew 2-2 2 days ago, and there was no notable goal scorers in both teams. Teams that has seen Firmino, Mahrez playing, but it ended 2-2 away to Damek. Al Khalij, they beat Al Tai by 3-1. Al Raed, they beat Al Shabab by 2-1. Of course, Al Shabab, they are one of the big clubs as well. But I can just quickly, before we go to Matt Smith for the latest, the standing in the Saudi Arabian Pro League at the moment, Al Hilal with 35 points, and Nasr with a game less with 28 points. Ahli Jeddah, they're on 26 points and third. At Ta'awan, the 25th. The Ta'awan started very well as well. So far, these are the teams are leading the Saudi Pro League standing. As for who's leading at Molineux, Matt Smith, it's still Tottenham, but the chances for Wolves keep coming and coming, haven't they?
Absolutely, there's been two massive chances for Wolves in the past 3 or 4 minutes before you come to me last. At first, it was goodness me, I can't believe who it was. It was Ryan Out-Nouri, who's playing sort of left midfield for Wolves, and we know him as a sort of an out-and-out left back. But he's bombing right down the left wing, and he beats two Tottenham players. And I think he's just got a little bit greedy, and he's tried to maybe take on a third or a fourth player, and he loses that there. He found himself almost in the Tottenham box before he got tackled. About a minute after that, it was Mateus Cunha who had a blazing chance, a massive chance. The ball, again, come down the left wing with Ryan Out-Nouri, who seems to be the creator of Wolves' chances. And he's cut it back to Mateus Cunha. I think he had time, the Brazilian, to take a touch and then finish, but he's tried to hit it first time. It's gone blazing over. And just before you came to me there, Hee Chan Huang's had another massive chance for Wolves. They've had three big chances to equalise, and this time the South Korean has put it wide from about 6 or 7 yards out. So goodness me, when I said they were knocking on the door, they're busting down this door now, John. Tottenham are holding on. I think the next team to get a goal here looks like it's going to be Wolves. I can't believe I'm saying it. Tottenham need to get a goal, and they need to get a goal quick. 55 minutes played. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Have they more or less backed off a bit, Tottenham, from what we've seen over the last few weeks under Ange Postecoglou, and going forward, even they're winning 1-0, or is he a bit concerned? That's why he's more or less pulling off a bit and being a bit more defensive cautious than normal.
I don't think it's anything to do with Ange Postecoglou, I have to say, John. I do believe it's Gary O'Neill, and it's his Wolves men that are not rolling over. That 11 attempts on goal Wolves have had. 2 of it on target, mind you, so it's not really fantastic. A lot of them have gone wide, a lot of them have gone over. But those 11 attempts, I think, if they have another 5 or 6, there's bound to be a goal for Wolves. So I don't think it's a matter of Postecoglou sort of sitting back and holding and just waiting for this 1-0 win to finish. I think it's a matter of Wolves. You've got to give Wolves credit. Ryan Out-Nouri down the left wing and Mateus Cunha are having chances. Bellegarde's having chances. So it's just about being clinical. Wolves are really mounting the pressure on Postecoglou's Spurs side. But they've still got a long time, Spurs, to hold out. We'll have to wait and see. The remaining 35-40 minutes of this game, it's still Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, we can't take away anything from Gary O'Neill, didn't he, as a manager? He proved it, didn't he, at Bournemouth, and he's proving it again at Wolves. I mean, for years we've been watching Wolves play, and they win by the goal to 0 or 2-1. Very rarely scored 2 goals in a game, didn't they? In the former managers, which is ironically they were all Portuguese managers, or even Spanish ones. But the style of football that Portugal and Spain maybe have as managers is different from the way Gary O'Neill is to ask him to go forward all the time. Even if they're winning 1-0, they still go for it, don't they?
Absolutely, they do, and I think that's what they're doing now. That they find themselves 1-0 down, but like I said before, they're no mugs. They're not. I said to Josh, they're not rolling over, and I think this is a sort of team. They're 14th place before this game, so they're not rolling over. They're not a team that just go heads down. Let's just try and get some sort of result out of this. They're manipulating the ball now. They're having much more possession of the ball in this second half than they did in the first. They're having way more shots than Tottenham. It looks like, I can't believe I'm saying it. It looks like Wolves are dominating this at the moment. Tottenham are sitting back and waiting. It's almost like the roles have been reversed in the second half.
Matt Smith, thank you very much from the Molineux. Let's quickly go to the Stadium of Light. It's about 56 minutes gone, Luke Charlton. It's still 1-1 there. And who's the more closer to win that game? I mean, it seems like from the bettings, which I'll be going to in a second, Sunderland are the ones that are more or less more favourite. But does that reflect the betting side of things?
It's very much been Sunderland with the ball. They've had almost double the number of passes in the second half so far, in the first 10 minutes of the second half, than Birmingham have been able to manage. But unfortunately, it hasn't really brought any clear-cut opportunities. Jack Clarke has looked very agile and nimble and effective on the left-hand side for Sunderland, but it hasn't really brought any sort of clear-cut opportunity for a second goal for the home side. But Birmingham are pressing well, and they seem to be creating a lot on the counter-attack. So I think a goal could come for either side, but at the moment, Sunderland do seem to be the ones with the ball and the ones with the possession.
Thank you very much, Luke Charlton from the Molineux. And in fact, the second we came back, it happened so many times, isn't it? It's been a goal at the Stadium of Light.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And Sunderland, we were just talking about Sunderland, and now they are leading by 2-1. And we did say that Sunderland, betting-wise, were a slight favourite, and now they just scored their second goal in the 58th minute. We'll be going to Luke Charlton very, very shortly. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's go to Luke Charlton now, because you've seen the goal. Let's see, and he can tell us more about that goal.
It is Sunderland 2, Birmingham City 1. 57 minutes gone. It's another corner routine. It's played in high and wide, all the way across the box, a deep ball that's crossed in, and it finds Christian Hume on the edge of the area, who heads it back into goal, in front of the goal. And the Birmingham City defenders and John Ruddy, they just don't know how to react. They're scrambling for the ball, and unfortunately, it's a Sunderland player. Unfortunately for Birmingham City, it's a Sunderland player that's able to run on, get on the end of it. And it's Triantis that gets the crucial touch to knock the ball into the net and gives Sunderland the deserved lead on the balance of play of the second half so far. It's more sloppy defending from set pieces for Birmingham City. They're a repeat of the first half goal, which saw Joe Bellingham open the scoring for Sunderland. And Wayne Rooney will be remonstrating with his coaches on the side, on the touchline, just to really cut out these sort of errors, because Birmingham on a whole have been able to build into the game, but moments like that are always going to cause them to concede, because they need structure, they need balance in corner kick routines and any set pieces that come their way. So in the 58th minute now, it's Sunderland 2, Birmingham City 1.
Thank you very much, Luke Charlton. Just before we go back to Molineux, Wolves Spurs, let me just give you the latest odds on the game that's happening at the moment. The big game at Molineux, Wolves at home are losing by a goal to nil. They are 10.0 for the win. The draw is 3.80, and an away win for Spurs at the moment is 1.44. Sunderland Birmingham, as expected. Now Sunderland are the firm favourites. They're 1.18 to the win. The draw is 6.0, and Birmingham away win is 21.0. It's half time in the Spanish La Liga. It's 1-1 between Rayo Vallecano and Girona, and Rayo Vallecano are 3.80 for the win. The draw is 2.70, and Girona are 2.50. There's a few other games happening at the moment. In Italy, they'll be kicking off in Serie A in about 5 or 6 minutes, and we've got Richard Bond there to give us all the latest news. In the Italian Serie B, it's half-time in 4 games at the moment. It's Ferrapisaldo losing at home to Bari by a goal to nil. Ascoli again losing at home to Como by a goal to nil. If you're old enough, you remember Como when they used to be in Serie A. Cosenza are leading Reggiana by a goal to nil, and Sub Tirol are losing at home to Pisa, which is another familiar name if you're old enough like me to remember it from the 90s. But let's go to Matt Smith again. We can't stay away from that game because the chance is just coming, Matt Smith, and Wolves are trying really, really hard, aren't they, at the moment, to come back. And to tell you, in the fact that they've got 10 corners so far with 13 shots and 2 on target, that tells a story of its own, isn't it? But there's no end product, is there?
There's no end product. That is I spoke with Josh about how Wolves are lacking an out-and-out goal scorer, and I think that is what they're lacking. They're trying their very best. 62 minutes played, and like you said, they've had multiple shots, but like you say, very small amount that are on target. Just as you come to me, Pape Sarr's coming off for Rodrigo Bentancur, so maybe a little bit of fresh legs. It looks like a like for like. I would guess central midfielder for central midfielder, just to maybe shore up the central midfield sort of positions in there. Bentancur, he comes on, and he's urging everybody to just up it a little bit. Just seems to be that Postecoglou is maybe giving a message of energy is needed for this remaining 30 minutes. I think Wolves are edging closer to getting that equaliser, and Postecoglou might just recognise that and giving his players a little bit of extra help with the extra spare legs. It's 63 minutes played, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. Tottenham having a little bit less of the ball than they would like.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. We'll be going back to Matt Smith very shortly. Just give you the latest updates at the moment. As you just heard, Wolves are losing at home to Tottenham Hotspur by 1-0. Sunderland are leading Birmingham by 2-1, and it'll be kicking off very, very shortly with Richard Bond as he watches Lecce against AC Milan. You are listening to Football Live.
It promises to be an action-packed afternoon of football tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, right here on Brila FM. 5 big matches in the Premier League, including Chelsea against Manchester City. That's the late kick-off. Before that, 4 other big games. West Ham United against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool look to close in on the leaders with a home game against Brentford. Aston Villa's home form is second to none. They entertain Fulham, and Brighton take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Dean Kilford, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Get involved in NairoBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Chelsea take on Man City and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Blues or the Citizens, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on Chelsea versus Man City, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5, must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What you talking about now? They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brila FM every Saturday and Sunday.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairoBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Yes, welcome back. It's John Caton here. I just want to make sure that Josh can hear me now. Josh, are you okay to carry on from here, mate?
I'm okay. I'm so sorry, everybody. A few technical issues, but we're okay. I think that's my first technical issue in about a year. I've been doing this show, so I'm good. Thank you very much for taking over, John. What have I missed?
Oh, you missed plenty. I mean, you've saw these chances that Matt Smith was talking about, isn't it, really, to be fair? And Wolves are still losing by 1-0. Of course, I did give the latest odds as well and the Saudi Pro latest results. And so you didn't miss much, really, to be fair. You did not miss much at all.
Seems like you've carried the ship. Well, am I okay to take on from here?
Please feel free to do so, mate.
Cool. Thank you very much, John Kane. Right, let's get back on the road, shall we? Let's go to Matt Smith. Matt, get me back up to speed. You know, maybe some of the listeners went just like me. If they heard, I wasn't there, heard John Kane, they might have switched off, but they might be switching back on now that I'm back. Just update us on what's been occurring so far in that game.
Well, the update really is that Wolves have not stopped. They are relentless. Tottenham haven't had a sniff in this second half. We're on the 67th minute mark, and dare I say it, Wolves are keeping the ball from Tottenham. Wolves are waiting for their chance, and they're not being clinical. They're not being as clinical as we know that Spurs have in this game so far. They're looking for chances. Wolves have had 14 shots, but only 2 on target. It just goes to show how clinical Tottenham are in comparison to Wolves, and I think they're getting a little bit desperate at the moment. Mateus Cunha has had an absolute howler of a shot. He's won the ball quite sort of midway, halfway point sort of, and he's noticed that Vicario is off his line, and he's tried to do one of those spectacular sort of lob the keeper shots from the halfway line, and it's almost gone out for a throw-in, goodness me. 68 minutes played, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, but I can't see it being like that for the rest of this game, Josh.
What has changed for Wolves in this second half? Have they made any adjustments tactically, or is it just a newfound desire?
Well, I believe now that Totti Gomez has become a centre-back, so they're playing three at the back. They've got Max Kilman, Craig Dawson and Totti Gomez as three centre-halves. And I think that Matt Doherty's just come on for Nelson Semedo, so that, I think, he's a right wing-back. We know his time at Atletico Madrid and his time back at Wolves. He loved getting down that right wing, as did Ryan Aït-Nouri. So Aït-Nouri and Doherty are almost left wingers, right wingers, trying to join in the attacks. And that's where I think a lot of their success has come in this second half. Bodies are up and Tottenham are struggling to deal with it at the moment. They're dealing with it, for now. But goodness me, if Tottenham can hold on to this will be a well-earned win.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. Let's go to Luke Shelton to get the update between Sunderland and Birmingham. Then still 1-1 in that game. A 2-1 to Sunderland, I believe. Luke Shelton now. Sunderland, are they well earned for their lead?
Yeah, very much so. They've been dominating and really pushing on to get a third goal to potentially seal all 3 points for them, the home side, in this match today against Birmingham. But it hasn't quite come. It hasn't made its way into their grasp as of yet. There was a really good opportunity for Dan Neil, played in down the left by Clark on the wing, and unfortunately John Ruddy was able to run out and smother at the last moment, and the chance got away from them. But there is a score correction actually from the goal previously that I noted for you for Sunderland's second. It was in fact been ruled as a Dion Sanderson own goal, which will be unfortunate for the Birmingham defender, but it still gives Sunderland the lead as things stand in the 68th minute. They've made one substitution. They've taken off their striker Rustin and brought on Abdullah Bar to run the front of the line for Sunderland in this match for the remaining 20 minutes or so we have left here. But as it stands currently, it's the 68th minute and it's Sunderland 2, Birmingham City 1.
What would the defeat for Birmingham mean, Luke? It's very concerning, is it, if they were to lose again?
I think it just further compounds the strange decision that it was to bring in Wayne Rooney. There's been some really good moments from Birmingham, and there's clearly some sense of identity that they're trying to build. It almost feels like that we're watching their pre-season fixtures under Rooney here, and they're taking time to adjust. But as we know, when you're halfway through a season and you're coming up against teams like Sunderland, you don't really have any time to adjust, and you can't be making unforced errors essentially, and silly mistakes from corners, and not really marking your man and following the ball in the box, and losing headers in a position where you can be really hurt. And Sunderland have taken advantage of that for sure. But there's positive signs, but it still seems like it was needless, I think, to have this upheaval so early on into a season when Birmingham had started so strongly.
A late kick-off in Lecce, Richard Bond, but I think we're underway in Italy.
Yes, we're underway. It's Lecce 0, AC Milan 0. There's about 2 minutes on the clock. The home side looking quite positive starting to this one. They've dominated the possession. We've had a few nice touches as well for Milan's Chukwueze, who's started his first game in a while back in Milan top. So both sides looking to get back to winning ways here. Be interested to see how this one goes. At the moment, though, it's Lecce 0, AC Milan 0.
Thank you very much, Richard Bond. Let's go back to Matt Smith now. 70 minutes gone. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Yeah, it is still Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, and Wolves are, like I said, having a little bit more possession of the ball. But I'm telling you now, they are terrible in that final third, looking for that final pass. They're woeful. Like 14 shots, and they've only had 2 on target. It shows how poor they've been in that final third, getting into that box. They do all the hard work to get into the box and into the Tottenham sort of defence area, and they just fluff their lines well and truly. There's been about 6 or 7 chances in the past 10 minutes alone that Wolves have had going forward, and it breaks down in that final third, looking for that final pass. They just maybe panic. Just as you come to me there, it's Sasha Kalajic has just come on for Bellegarde, so that's another attacking move. I said to you that I think that's a sort of move that Gary O'Neill will make late on into the game, and that's the move he's made. I think Kalajic is, like I said, an out-and-out number 9, so maybe this might just change the way that Wolves are playing. Might be a little bit more target man sort of stuff. 72 minutes played, it's Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
And let's now go to, we'll go to Dowland shortly. I'll just stick with you quickly, Matt, just to talk about this game a little bit more. I mean, we spoke about our Tottenham defence, and is it holding on? We said, there's many replacements, is it a little bit weak? I mean, have you been impressed with the way they've defended against today, or are they kind of riding the luck a little bit?
Not at all. I have to give a huge praise to Ben Davies and Eric Dyer. Maybe more to Ben Davies, but Eric Dyer's done a job as well. I think the fact that Eric Dyer is only making his second appearance of the season, it shows that he's maybe down the pecking order a little bit. But Ben Davies has steadied this ship. 73 minutes in, and they haven't really had a blaring mistake. They haven't really had anything too worrying to deal with. Like I said, Wolves have been terrible in that final third, but Ben Davies has arguably been Tottenham's saviour when it comes to Wolves' attacks. He's broken down attacks. He's clearing headers from corners. I think it's that experienced sort of player that is, like I said, steering this ship. And they've only got 15-20 minutes remaining. Can they hold on? I said that they might not hold on, but it looks like they might. You never know. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, 74 minutes played.
I think Tottenham have maybe slipped into this Conte mode with this game. He's still going on the front foot. They're still playing the way Postecoglou would want. Are they sitting deep right now?
I think they're sitting deep just because Wolves are mounting incredible pressure on the back four. They have to sit. They have to soak up the pressure. Just as you're talking to me just then, Brian Heel is about to come on for Brennan Johnson, I believe, and Giovanni Lo Celso as well. So Postecoglou's looking for some fresh legs. I think it's a case of just maybe holding on a little bit. Weathering the storm. Wolves are pushing and pushing and pushing. I think if Postecoglou was to maybe make too much of a big change and maybe swap out one of the better players like Son or rest a bigger player, I think that maybe it maybe have people looking at him and going, "What are you doing?" It's Yves Bissouma's come off as well for Lo Celso, so I think it's maybe just a lot of like for like, again, fresh leg sort of stuff. But Tottenham are holding on here. They're taking their time getting their subs off. 75 minutes played. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Let's go to Ed Dowling now and to Old Trafford. He is watching over Manchester United v Luton, a Man United team who lost the midweek to Copenhagen 4-3. Things just seem to be going from bad to worse for Erik ten Hag, really, and it's difficult to see a way out. But the way out today, if there is going to one, is in the shape of Luton and Rob Edwards. The Luton team, which are surprising a few people, nearly beat Liverpool last week. Ed was so close to that 1-0 victory before Luis Diaz bagged an equaliser and held them back. So really, this isn't going to be an easy game for Manchester United.
No, it certainly will not. And I think Luton so far proved to a lot of doubters, including myself actually, that they are capable of getting a good result against strong teams. And United are anything but a strong team at the moment. However, I think if they were looking at the fixture calendar and if they need an easy result to get them over the line, I think this is the one at home to Luton Town. Obviously, they lost in the week to Copenhagen. They got a fortunate result, you could argue, against Fulham last weekend. And then before that, it was a defeat in the Cup to Newcastle and then to City. It's not been a good few weeks for Erik ten Hag's side. Callum's slightly unlucky, I think, in the Champions League. But the fans aren't happy, and I think anything other than a convincing win here at Old Trafford today will further sort of have that cloud around Old Trafford at the moment. But let's start with the team, and there is some interesting changes that Erik ten Hag has made to his team, or lack thereof, you could argue. In goal, we've got Andre Onana. We've got a back four of Dalot, Maguire, Lindelof and Reguilon, with Varane again dropping to the bench. He did feature as a sub against Copenhagen, but he has again been dropped to the bench. Eriksen and McTominay make up the holding midfielders, with Fernandes just in front of them. Mount again dropped to the bench, with Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford, that front three for Manchester United. It seems he's going with a very similar team, but it's kind of been a trend really with Erik ten Hag so far. He's sticking with the same guys week in, week out. He's not flip-flopping, which I guess he deserves some credit for there. As for the visitors, Luton Town, they've got Kaminsky in goal. They're playing a 3-4-3 with Mengi, Lockyer and Osho as the back three. Doughty, Barkley, Kaboy and Nakamba make up that midfield four. And then we've got an interesting Luton Town debut for Andros Townsend, with Morris and Ogbene making up the front three. Could Andros Townsend come and write himself again into the Barclays Premier League history books? We'll have to wait and see. But kick off at 3 o'clock here. It should be a nervous one at Old Trafford here today, Josh.
Thanks, Ed. Let's now go to, well, actually, before we go to Matt Smith at Molineux, we've got an answer goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
A third for Sunderland, Luke Charlton, and with that, a 3 points should be staying on Tyneside.
Yes, exactly that. It's now Sunderland 3, Birmingham City 1. And it's Ayochiche who's just come onto the field, a recent replacement for Joe Bellingham, who scored Sunderland's opener, who's got on the end of a brilliant Jack Clark cross to give Sunderland the further lead by a third goal. And the Frenchman celebrates jubilantly as it feels now that the 3 points will be staying on Tyneside. Again, Jack Clark, influential down the left-hand side. Birmingham City have not known how to track him or defend him consistently for the entirety of this match. And at a point when a few substitutions have been made by both managers, Wayne Rooney had decided to bring on Shariki Dembele for Jordan James. Tony Mowbray reacted in kind by taking off Joe Bellingham for Ayochiche, and his substitution has had an instant impact, making it 3-1 now. In the 76th minute, Wayne Rooney will be looking to really get his side motivated in any way they can for the remaining 15 minutes or so of this match to try and really wrestle back a point if they can, but it really looks like it'll be a tall order now as things stand. And in the 77th minute, it's Sunderland 3, Birmingham City 1.
To Matt Smith now and to Molyneux, because we're in the closing stages. 10 minutes left. That means there's 10 minutes of Tottenham hold on and Wolves to maybe get a crucial goal.
Yeah, absolutely. On the 79-minute mark, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1 still. Wolves haven't stopped. The game has fizzled out just a little bit. Tottenham are happy to sort of to sit back and soak up the pressure, and I think that's maybe what Postecoglou might be doing. Goodness knows what Wolves must be thinking. They're thinking, can we break this defence down? They're breaking them down, but they can't get that goal. Wolves have had a massive chance again. I can't believe I keep saying that. It's a huge chance again. This time it's Mateus Cunha sort of coming into the box. He's given it to Mario Lemina. Mario Lemina is sort of almost in the 6-yard box, but he's wide. And he's tried to bring it back to Sasha Kalajic, I think it is, or maybe Matt Doherty, who's found himself in the nosebleed area. And again, it's blocked and cleared away. So Tottenham are defending very, very well. Again, it's Ben Davies that defends again. So 80 minutes gone. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
I feel like if anyone's going to score, Matt, it'll be Matt Doherty, obviously playing against his former club today. That just seems like fate, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Wolves are certainly needing a little bit of help going forward. And I think if Matt Doherty's on the pitch now, I think he's going to be wanting to get involved. Certainly when he's playing right wing. I know, we said he's a right wing back and likes to get involved in the attacks, but he was in the 6-yard box. Then it was just thanks to Ben Davies that Doherty didn't get a goal against his former club. So again, it just goes to show how well Ben Davies has done at the back there, and maybe Ange Postecoglou can put a little bit more trust in the Welshman.
Any changes of such yet, Matt?
We've had the two Wolves changes. Matt Doherty come on and Kalajic has come on. They're the only two changes Wolves have made. I don't think Gary O'Neill was too concerned about changing it too much. If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. But at the moment, he does need a little bit of help going forward, and that's what he's brought the tall unit that is Sasha Kalajic. Tottenham, again, like I said, the changes earlier, I think it's just for freshening up the legs. Brian Gil is on the pitch, and Giovanni Lo Celso is on the pitch for Bissouma. So it's just a case of just riding it out. Tottenham are just looking for those little chances here and there. I think if Wolves chuck the kitchen sink at Spurs will have one more out-and-out chance to have another go at goal and maybe extend their lead. But at the moment, a little bit fizzling out at the moment towards the last 10 minutes of this game. But Wolves are still there. They're still in touching distance. It's Wolves 0, Tottenham 1, 81 minutes played.
Richard Bond, there seems to be an injury at the San Siro. Rafa Leao was down for Milan. Is he okay now?
He's not, and it's a big problem for AC Milan, who've had to take him off in these early stages. His hamstring's gone, I think. And, Lecce have really started well in this game. So this is further problems for a Milan side really needing a win today to try and catch up on the leaders. Noah Okafor's come on for him. But the one major chance of note to really report about is Lamek Banda, really, for the home side. He broke free down the left-hand side, cut in. It was a half chance, really. Quite a tight angle. He flashed the shot across the goal. The goalkeeper probably would have been able to keep it out, I would have thought. But good signs for Lecce, really. Not so good for Milan so far. But at the moment, it's Lecce 0, AC Milan 0 with about 15 minutes on the clock.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to Matt Smith. Matt, 8 minutes left. Top Wolves. What change would you make for both teams if you were Gary O'Neill or Ange Postecoglou? What would you be looking to do to have the game in their side's court?
Well, I think if I'm a Wolves fan, I'm very frustrated, and I think the red mist would come out of me, and I'd be screaming at my players, "Get forward, get forward!" They're losing the game. I don't really think it matters if they lose 1-0 or 2-0. Just show a little bit of heart going forward. Give everything you've got. You're going to try and get a result of some kind against Spurs, who are challenging for the title, dare I say. they find themselves 1-0 down, I'd be urging Gary O'Neill to put Fabio Silva on, or attacking. Pablo Sarabia is on the bench as well, who's unused at the moment. I think they're steadying a little bit. Wolves are looking quite confident going forward, but I think I've seen Gary O'Neill a few times check with his subs bench and check with his assistant as if to say, right, what do we do now? What do we do? As Postecoglou, on the other hand, looks calm. He's not sort of come out of his technical box. I think he knows what he's doing, Postecoglou. We sure hope he does. But I think Spurs are just happy to just hold and hold and hold, and like I said, they're waiting for an opportunity because they will pounce. They've been the clinical side, and they will pounce if they have an opportunity. 84 minutes played. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Get some team news now. Some more team news from our Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs, and we're going to start. Well, we're going to now head to Jordan Nicola, who's covering Crystal Palace v Everton today. Jordan, I mean, for this game, both teams really. Everton, after their really difficult start, they've fought their way back into the Premier League and up the table, and they've played some really impressive stuff. As Crystal Palace, they're sort of faltering a little bit under Roy Hodgson, and fans are growing incredibly frustrated with him. So this game has a lot of underlying factors in it.
Yes, a lot of underlying factors indeed. Two teams both on form, so it's hard to say who's going to get the win today. Crystal Palace will fancy themselves, of course, being at home. I'll give you the Crystal Palace team news to start off with. Firstly, Palace will be playing with a 4-2-3-1. Ward, Anderson, Guehi and Mitchell at the back with Johnstone in goal. They have been doing very well on defence, keeping a lot of clean sheets, Crystal Palace. In midfield, they have Hughes, Lerma and Eze is back starting for Crystal Palace. So the Crystal Palace fans would be happy to hear that Eze is back in the starting lineup. The player of Nigerian descent. We have Ayew and Schlupp makes his 250th appearance for Crystal Palace on the left wing, and Odsonne Edouard starts up front for Everton. Everton have a fantastic record against Crystal Palace. They've only lost 10 of the last 17. They've won 10 of the last 17 fixtures against Crystal Palace. They play with Calvert-Lewin up top. They have a midfield of Harrison, Garner, Onana, McNeil and Doucouré. And at the back, they have Ashley Young, Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Mikalenko with Pickford in goal. So looking forward to this one. Should be a close tie. Not too sure who's going to win this one, but Palace will fancy it since they're at home.
I mean, Palace have a really good record. They've lost just one of their past 20 Premier League home fixtures against sides from outside London draws. That's winning 9, drawing 10. But Roy Hodgson has failed to win any of his last 12 league matches against Everton. So that doesn't bode well either. So it should be a very interesting game, this one. Thank you very much, Jordan. We're going to go back to Matt Smith now. 5 minutes left. Wolves are knocking on that door. They've just had another chance. But the longer this goes on, you just feel like Tottenham might get away with daylight robbery.
Yeah, it hasn't been a scintillating performance from Ange Postecoglou's Spurs side, but at the moment a win's a win. There's 2 Wolves subs just come on there. Pablo Sarabia and Tommy Doyle coming on for João Gomez, and I believe it's I think it could be Mario Lemina. No, it's not. It's Ryan Aït-Nouri, who I think is a little bit frustrated to be getting taken off. He has been probably the creator of 90% of Wolves' chances. I'm a little bit shocked that Gary O'Neill has taken him off, but all the same, Wolves are last chance saloon at the moment. The Wolves had a massive chance about 30 seconds ago, 40 seconds ago. It was a little short free kick just over in the far corner, and it was João Gomez who lifted a big cross, a loopy cross, and who's in there? That's 6'4", 6'5", Sasha Kalajic, who's a unit. And you think, oh, if I'm going to put my money on a striker heading the ball into this net and getting us an equaliser, it'll be him. But the header, he's unchallenged. There's no one around him, and he heads it way over and way wide. So it goes back to Wolves being, not so clinical, not clinical at all. They're really struggling going, in that final third, getting those clear-cut chances and getting Vicario tested. It's still Wolves 0, Tottenham 1 on the 87th minute mark. Will Tottenham hold on? It seems so.
How many new minutes do you think we'll have had it on here, Matt? I mean, that's the key, really, isn't it? With these Premier League games, you can have 10 minutes added on. That could really put the game in Wolves' favour. How long, with your crystal ball, how long do you think will be added on?
Well, my crystal ball, there hasn't been many long stoppages. There's been a lot of little niggles and little injuries here and there, and lots of substitutions coming on. I dare to say 5 or 6. It's probably going to be more 6 or 7, knowing the rules about stoppages and knowing these stoppages times in Premier League modern era. So I think maybe 6 or 7. 87 minutes played. Wolves still behind 0-1.
Thank you very much, Matt. Let's go to Sunderland now. Staying tonight 3-1 there, Luke Charlton. Sunderland cruising to victory.
Yes, it seems so. Birmingham have made a few changes and they've tried to react to try and get something from this game, as I mentioned before. And they've had a couple of long-range chances that have been comfortably saved by Patterson in Sunderland goal. And it's Scott Hogan and Lukas Jucevic most recently have gone closest with their mid-range efforts, but it's not really going to bring anything from this game for them, unfortunately. Sunderland are comfortable. They look comfortable ever since the second goal, really, and Birmingham have not been able to react. They've had moments and spells in the match where they've had some good build-up play and a lot of good passing in the midfield, and have created a fair amount of opportunities themselves. I think they've actually had on balance the same number of shots as Sunderland in this match so far, but Sunderland have been the more clinical. They have been the more balanced and more set up correctly, I'd say, in moments of transition, and have really been able to be effective on the counter attack. And in the moments when they've been on top in the match, they've made it count and they've scored their 3 goals. And with 4 minutes or so to go before added time, it's going to be a very, very straightforward Sunderland victory. And the 402-mile round trip for the Birmingham City fans that have travelled to the Stadium of Light today is going to be a very difficult one to make home on the way back this afternoon. It remains now 87 minutes. Sunderland 3, Birmingham City 1.
Jumped in there, Luke, on you. Sorry about that, because I've got some big news to bring you in the form of Matt Smith, because Tottenham just had a chance to seal the win, but they've bluffed their lines.
They have indeed. Like I said, Wolves were throwing the kitchen sink and Spurs found themselves an opportunity, and it was Giovanni Lo Celso. Dejan Kulusevski had the ball first on the right wing, twisting and turning, and Giovanni Lo Celso's in acres of space on the edge of the box, and he's screaming for it. The Swedish winger gives it back to Giovanni Lo Celso, and with his first time strike, he hits it. It's a really, really wicked strike, but it forces a very, very good save from Jose Sa, and it goes out for a corner. The corner results in nothing, but it just shows that Spurs only need a half chance. They only need a little bit of a slip of concentration from a Wolves defender, and they are in. We're just entering the 90th minute mark now, and Wolves 0, Tottenham 1.
Kulusevski obviously he was instrumental in the goal which put Tottenham in front. Oh, we have a goal at Molineux.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's come at the death. We asked the question of if Spurs would be able to hold on, Matt Smith, but Wolves have struck late on.
They have struck late on, and I cannot say they don't deserve it. They have deserved it. They've worked, and Gary O'Neill has not stopped with this constant pressure. It's Matheus Cunha on the left wing. It's a lofted ball over Eric Dyer and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Ben Davies tries his very best to cover, but it's Pablo Sarabia on a fantastic touch up into the air. He hasn't got it on the ground. It's blocked up into the air, puts it onto his favoured left foot, and he blasts it at the near post past Vicario, and Wolves may have just grabbed something from this game. Gary O'Neill goes absolutely bonkers on the side. It's 6 added minutes. Can they hold on for a draw, or is there another goal in this game? 91 minutes played. Wolves 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
No VAR check on this one, Matt.
I don't think so. I think it's just a lack of concentration from the Spurs defenders. They've maybe tried to close these Wolves players down. 2 or 3 players have gone out wide to try and close Matheus Cunha down, and they've left a big gap in the defence. And Ben Davies is frustrated. He couldn't get across quick enough. And Pablo Sarabia, a very well taken goal. When you look at that on the replays, it's a real sweet finish on his left foot. It's very hard for Vicario to get down so quickly. But I tell you now, they deserved it. As Postecoglou's men, maybe, we said that maybe he was just holding on. But it's a fantastic finish, and Wolves deserve it. I'll tell you that now. 91 minutes played. There is 6 added minutes. I told you that my crystal ball was working. Wolves 1, Tottenham 1.
Will he be angry here, and Postecoglou, about that goal? Obviously we know they like to go and kill the game off. They haven't done that, and it seems like they've ended up sinking into themselves. Would you say that's the case here? Would he be angry?
I think he'd be a little bit frustrated. I don't think angry. I think with the suspensions and the injury problems that they've got, you almost can't blame Spurs for being a little bit, all over the place at the back, and I think that's what it comes down to. They've done very, very well for 91 minutes of this game, but it just shows that all it takes is one chance. They've had about 15 shots, and it takes one to get an equaliser, and Spurs haven't held on. I think Ben Davies is probably arguably the man of the match, and it's just a shame that it ends up being that he hasn't managed to keep a clean sheet.
That's a real shame. Let's see what they're going to do. 1-1 there. You feel like maybe Wolves, that goal on their side, maybe go and get a second one for Tottenham. It's all about not conceding that second goal. They can't let 3 points turn into no points in a flash just like that. Luke Charlton now, because Birmingham, they've just had an excellent save from their keeper, I believe. Is that right, Luke?
That is correct, John Ruddy. They say as a goalkeeper, you have to keep the ball out of the net in any way possible. And unfortunately, he's conceded 3 times today, but he's just stopped it magnificently from being a fourth with the side of his face. It's a brilliant play through with Eleza Mayenda, who was substituted earlier on for Patrick Roberts. Comes in, runs down the line, and is able to take an excellent strike that goes straight at the goalkeeper. Nothing he can do but get his face in the way of the ball to keep it out of the net. It would have added insult to injury, unfortunately, for Birmingham City today if they'd conceded a fourth. But John Ruddy himself has been fairly impressive in the net for them and has kept the score as he can. But it's still not going to result in any points for Birmingham on their travels today. In the 91st minute, it remains Sunderland 3, Birmingham City 1.
Back to Matt Smith, 1-1 between Wolves and Tottenham. Matt, 3 minutes to go of the added time. Is there going to be a winner?
Oh, goodness me. My crystal ball isn't working right now. I'll tell you that. It's end-to-end. It really is. Wolves are having chances going forward, looking for a winner. Spurs are having chances going forward. It's almost a little bit panicky, a little bit frantic, like it was at the end of that first half. Spurs and Wolves are looking for the winner now. It's opened this game up massively. A little bit of tussling here and there, getting a little bit feisty. Heung-min Son and Craig Dawson coming together a little bit. Bit of frustration from Spurs for letting this slip, and almost a little bit of adrenaline from Wolves players. Craig Dawson just got booked for that little tussle with Heung-min Son. He'll miss the next Premier League match, and that'll be away to Fulham. So, although they're getting a draw at the moment, they still have to hold on. They've got 2 minutes of the added time remaining, and it's Wolves 1, Tottenham 1.
Roma have just scored in their game.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Apologies, not Roma. AC Milan. They have just taken the lead on the 30th minute mark. It's Lecce 0. AC Milan 1. We'll go to Richard Bond shortly, but let's quickly go to Io now, our resident betting expert. Io, we've got to be very, very quick with this because we've got to get to the Spurs-Wolves game. Just give us a few odds on Arsenal and what you think. We'll make it very quickly, please.
Hi, you're right. Arsenal Burnley today. You won't be surprised to know that Arsenal are the favourites to win the game at 1.22. At Burnley are 13.00. If you fancy Burnley to win, I don't think so. I think Arsenal will beat them. Arsenal in fine form. They had this controversial defeat against Newcastle, which they've got off their system with a convincing 2-0 win against Sevilla. But I think Arsenal will come up to the Emirates and be confident today and expect to win 4-0, 4-1. 4-0 for Arsenal to win is 10.00. 4-1 is 17.00. I fancy Arsenal to really, really start cooking again this season. And I fancy them to win 4-1, 17.00, 4-0, 10.00. As for the Man United Luton game, United are so difficult to back at these days because United are so a short price at 1.29 to win the game. I don't think they're worth backing at 1.29. I don't think United are that good. So I fancy Luton at +2 to win the game. United have not won by more than 1 goal since September. Luton have not lost by more than 1, but I've lost only 1 game by more than 1 goal in the last 11 games. And Luton to win +2 is 2.15. So that means United have to win by 3-0. For Luton, United have to win by 3-0 for you to lose this bet. So Luton to win +2 at 2.15.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, we have a goal at Molineux.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's going to be back-to-back defeats for Ange Postecoglou because Wolves have turned it around in stoppage time. What dramatic fashion to turn 0 points into 3 points, Matt Smith.
I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. Although I say that, they've deserved it. Spurs have crumbled in this second half. They've sat back and not really had anything going forward. It's Mario Lemina. Wolves win the ball in the sort of halfway line. There's a little bit of a sort of delay in play. Tottenham seem a little bit 6s and 7s. They're not set up. I think it's Tommy Doyle that plays the ball far right. I think it is to Matt Doherty. Or maybe Pablo Sarabia, who plays a nice little slip-through ball to Mario Lemina. He's 6 yards out, hits it with his first touch, and it's a fantastic finish pass for Cario. Pablo Sarabia has scored the equaliser and set up the winner. What a substitution by Gary O'Neill. Wolves 2, Tottenham 1. I can't believe they've done it.
It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? I mean, for Tottenham, they're holding on for so long. But you just feel like they've crept into Antonio Conte's old way of thinking there, haven't you? With the likes of Dyer on the pitch and the likes of Ben Davies on the pitch, sitting back, absorbing the pressure, not looking to attack, and Højbjerg as well. Just feel like maybe that could be the reason with the individuals they've got on the pitch. They've lost this game. It is Wolves 2, Tottenham 1. Absolutely incredible, Matt Smith. Absolutely incredible. We're going to go to Richard Bong quickly just to get the goal of the AC Milan.
Yes, for this Lecce 0, AC Milan 1, and what a goal it was for Milan, they started slow, but they come back into it. But it was the goal for that man, Olivier Giroud. And there was a nice little bit of play down from Hernandez, who's back in the team today, down the left-hand side. Burst down, played the 1-2 with Pobega. Got the ball back, tricked inside into the penalty area. His sweeping ball across the box, finds the Frenchman, whips it into the back of the net. 1-0 Milan, Lecce 0, AC Milan 1, 35 minutes on the clock.
Full time at Wolsey Tottenham. Matt Smith, give us your full time report because that is absolutely incredible.
Well, Spurs started the much the better side. They were rewarded with an early goal. Just 3 minutes in, Kulusevski demonstrated a great bit of trickery down the right wing. Pedro Porro overlapped and he whipped a wicked low cross into the box. And there was Brennan Johnson to simply guide it in to make it 1-0 Spurs. Following the half-time break, Wolves were all over Spurs, with more possession, more chances, more corners and more attacks overall. Postecoglou got fresh legs onto the field. Gary O'Neill made some massive attacking moves to try and snatch something from the game, and they did. Mateus Cunha lofted a ball over Eric Dyer and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and he found Pablo Sarabia, the new substitute. He flicked it up, and he volleyed a rifle of a shot past Guillermo Vicario to equalise. It was 1-1, and in the dying minutes of the second half, we're in deep into added time. Pablo Sarabia is involved again. He slipped a cute little ball between the centre halves of Spurs, a through ball to Mario Lemina, and he's 6 yards out. All he has to do is score, and score he does. Tottenham were holding on, but they could not hold on. It is finished at Molineux. Wolves 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1, and now they go 2 games without a win, 2 back-to-back losses. Question marks over Postecoglou? I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Thank you very much, Matt. With that full-time report, we are now going to head over to FJ and the team in Nigeria. Yes, hello everyone and welcome back to Football Live. And we're going to start with the Bundesliga. Stuttgart v Borussia Dortmund in the battle at the top of the league. Matthew Key is the man covering this one. Stuttgart, a lot's gone on and Stuttgart have been at the centre of it, Matt.
Yes, that's absolutely right, Josh. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to all our Football Live listeners. And yeah, we've had a frantic first 22 minutes, but somehow the score is still 0-0. So I'll very quickly run through all that's happened. The first notable event was Stuttgart winning a penalty in the 10th minute. Dennis Undav brought down by Kobel in the Borussia Dortmund goal. The irony of it was that it was Chris Fulrek, former Borussia Dortmund player, taking the penalty for Stuttgart against Gregor Kobel, former Stuttgart goalkeeper. And it was Kobel that came out on top. His first penalty save for Dortmund in the Bundesliga. So that was saved, but since then, nothing's changed. It's been all Stuttgart. They've come close on numerous occasions. Kobel's just had to make another excellent double save and just denied Undav at the near post. Stuttgart, a fantastic start from them. The only disappointment will be they haven't taken the lead, but Dortmund need to wake up here because at the moment, Kobel's saving them on numerous occasions. 23 minutes gone and it's Stuttgart 0, Borussia Dortmund 0.
We watched over 2 games at the 12:30 kickoffs. We saw Wolves turn it around late to beat Tottenham 2-1. Lemina with a last-minute goal to secure them the 3 points. And we also watched Sunderland v Birmingham, where Sunderland they were level at 1 point when they looked Charlton, but Sunderland in their quality shone through. Ended up being a comfortable afternoon for them.
It did indeed, Josh. Yes, it was ended 3-1 to Sunderland. The Black Cats, with this victory, will now see themselves re-enter the top 6 and back into the playoff places ahead of the 3 o'clock kickoff this afternoon. It was not necessarily plain sailing the whole way through the match, although Sunderland were certainly the stronger of the 2 teams at the start of the game and opened the scoring in the 17th minute through Bellingham, not Jude, his younger brother Job, a signing they've made from Birmingham City themselves for his 3rd goal for his new club, Sunderland. It was from a brilliant corner played in by Jack Clark. It was flicked on by their striker Rusin for Job Bellingham to poke in the middle of the goal, high into the net, just out of reach of John Ruddy in goal for Birmingham City. They would look to build on this and try and get further into the match, but it would actually be Birmingham that would then turn things around in the 30th minute with Miyoshi found free in the area by Jade Stansfield. He's pulled back into the box, not spotted by the Sunderland defenders who didn't react quickly enough, and Miyoshi was able to fire into the top left of the net to bring the match level and to hopefully build on for Wayne Rooney's side, who's still looking for their first victory under their new boss. As the match entered the second half, it was unclear who would be really taking the focus away and putting the form to right and pushing on for a victory in the second half of the matter. But it would be Sunderland that would again take the lead in the 57th minute. Jack Clark again with a brilliant cross into the area that found Tion Rowe on the back post to flick on to Dion Sanderson to actually put into his own net from Birmingham. Unfortunately, it would be their own goal there in the 57th minute that would give Sunderland the lead. So but then it was finally compiled in the 76th minute with Ayochiche, a substitute for Bellingham, to round off the scoring, 3-1. Final result for Sunderland, 3-1 winners. The Black Cats back into the top six. All time.
Thank you very much, Luke Charlton. Perfectly summed up. We do have a couple of 3 p.m. games going on then, because we have the Arsenal-Burnley game kicking off very soon. Crystal Palace, Everton, and Manchester United, Luton. And we are going to go to Johnny Holmes now to get the lineups for Arsenal-Burnley.
Absolutely. On the back of defeats for both sides here. Arsenal, of course, in that controversial defeat to Newcastle. Arteta had a lot of words to say about that one. And Burnley also losing against Crystal Palace. We've got the lineups right here. David Raya in goal for Arsenal, ahead of Aaron Ramsdale, who's on the bench. Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko is the back four for Arsenal. And in midfield, Havertz, Jorginho and Declan Rice. Saka, Trossard and Martinelli up front, while Nketiah, who has been a strong forward of late, is on the bench for the home team. Switching over now to the Burnley starting lineup. Trafford in goal. De Silva, O'Shea, Bayer and Taylor is the back four. It's the classic 4-4-2 for Burnley. Four in midfield, Goodmanson, Berg, Brownhill and Koleosho, with Rodriguez and Amdouni up front. Should be a fascinating one. Can Arsenal get back to winning ways?
That is the question, isn't it? Arsenal really do need to get back to winning ways, Johnny. That's the one on everyone's lips. I mean, what have you made so far of our Arsenal's form recently? Obviously, in the last 5 games, they've lost 2, they've won 3. It's difficult. It's been difficult, hasn't it?
It has been a difficult start. It's been a bit stop-start recently for Arsenal, who were, of course, expected to kick on after challenging Man City so close last season, falling away just at the end. And the hope was that they would be able to keep up a Premier League title charge throughout this season. But we've seen sides like Man City who just keep producing results all throughout the season. And if Arsenal are going to keep slipping up like they did last week, then it's going to be very, very tough for them to maintain a challenge.
Thank you very much, Johnny. That is going to be kicking off in a short while. 2 minutes underway until that one. For now, let's go back to Matthew Key now. Tell us about the Stuttgart-Dortmund game.
Well, it's still all Stuttgart, to be honest with you, Josh. We've just had the stats pop up here. We're half an hour into this one. Would you believe Stuttgart 8 shots, Borussia Dortmund yet to have one at all? So they're massively under the cosh at the moment. So sort of the same pattern. Koval to thank. He's actually just gone down holding his hand. Don't know whether it was while making one of those saves that he's made so far. Looked like as Dennis Undav tried to go around him, he may have just stepped on his hand, but he's up, he's fine, and Borussia Dortmund will need him to continue to make some of the excellent saves he has so far, because to be honest with you, Josh, he's the only reason why this game's still level. They've not got going at all in an attacking sense, despite all the talent they've got in those attacking areas, and of course the good form that they've been on recently with that fantastic win at the Signal Iduna Park against Newcastle on Tuesday night. So much improvement needed from Dortmund, but for now they can count themselves lucky they're still level. Half an hour gone, Stuttgart 0, Dortmund 0.
Thank you, Matthew. Let's get just a couple of key changes from Crystal Palace, Everton. Then we've got Jordan Collar covering that one. Jordan, we obviously heard team news earlier, but just remind our listeners about who are the players in the field today.
Okay, so we've got a Berechi Eze playing. He's back starting after a long-term injury. And we also have Michael Olise on the bench. It's been a long time since Crystal Palace fans have seen him. He may make his first appearance of the season, so he's fit enough to be on the bench. For Everton, it's more or less the same. They've got Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin has a fantastic record against Crystal Palace. He actually has 5 goals against Crystal Palace. That's the joint most highest that he's got against any Premier League team, alongside Newcastle. So it's pretty much more of the same for Everton. For Crystal Palace, that's where the changes are. Eze back in the starting lineup and Olise back on the bench.
Thank you, Jordan. And now we're going to head over to Manchester and to Old Trafford to get the team news from Ed Downing.
Yeah, in terms of key changes, Josh, it really is Mason Mount and Varane still on the bench for Erik ten Hag. A lot of the confusion, I think, from the United side is, Ten Hag's man was Mason Mount in the summer. They pursued him for so long. They spent quite a bit of money on him, probably more than they should have in retrospect. And he can't get a game. I don't think he's featured since the Newcastle game in which he was anonymous and they lost 3-0. So that's the main sort of talking point here. Varane, there seems to be a rift between him and the manager, or at least that's what's been reported. Harry Maguire has played well in recent weeks, but it's surprising to me, at least, Josh, that a player of Varane's standard is not playing in a game as crucial as this, surely.
I mean, yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you? And we already have an early goal to start the Premier League.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And what a start it is for Everton, because they have taken the lead against Crystal Palace. We said that Roy Hodgson hasn't defeated the Toffees in 12 attempts. Well, it's not a start to right those wrongs, because Everton now lead there. It's Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1. Back to Ed Dowling. Ed, about in terms of Varane, this huge game, why would he not start?
I think there's always been a question with Varane since he joined Manchester United about his conditioning, his ability to play 2-3 games a week has been questioned quite a lot. And maybe it's a question of fitness. I think it's partially due to you saw the treatment of Varane when he came on against Copenhagen in the week, and the body language isn't positive from my perspective, from what I can see between the manager, the coaching staff, and Rafa Varane. I suspect there's something going on there, like how there's a rift between him and Sancho and other senior players in the squad as well. I remember there's some controversy with Marcus Rashford a few weeks ago when he was celebrating his birthday. To me, on paper, I feel like Rafa Varane should be starting every game possible for Manchester United, given his ability and his pedigree. But clearly, Josh, Erik ten Hag disagrees.
Yeah, what
it promises to be an action-packed afternoon of football tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, right here on Brila FM. 5 big matches in the Premier League, including Chelsea against Manchester City. That's the late kick-off. Before that, 4 other big games. West Ham United against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool look to close in on the leaders with a home game against Brentford. Aston Villa's home form is second to none. They entertain Fulham, and Brighton take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Dean Kilford, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Chelsea take on Man City and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Blues or the Citizens, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on Chelsea versus Man City, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5, must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What are you talking about now? They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
Take Breela anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Breela with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Breela app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brilla FM every Saturday and Sunday.
You are listening to Football Live on Breela FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Palace have immediately hit back and they've drawn the scores level.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's a fantastic, a ferocious and a fast start to Football Live in our 3 o'clock kickoffs. Everton, they struck in early, but Crystal Palace have got one back. We'll go quickly to Jordan now. Just tell us about that Everton goal, Jordan.
Okay, yeah, so the Everton goal, what a start to this match. Crazy start to this game. Everton right from kickoff. Crystal Palace caught cold, and it was Mykolenko with the goal. Doucouré was involved, so was Calvert-Lewin, but it was Jack Harrison who got the assist. His 3rd assist of the season. Whipped in a great cross for Mykolenko, and he couldn't miss in the 6-yard box. Beat Johnstone. Crystal Palace, who have been keeping clean sheets for fun. No clean sheet for them today. Mykolenko heads home and catches Palace cold. 1-0 Everton.
Thank you, Jordan. We're going to quickly now go to Richard Bond just to talk about the AC Milan Lecce. It was AC Milan 2, Lecce 0 the last time we heard from you, Richard Bond. What about that? We haven't started just yet. I mean, how about your half-time report?
Yeah, well, just about to kick off in this second half with a bit of a delay now. So it's AC Milan 2 to the good at Lecce. Lecce 0, AC Milan 2, half-time it was. So the visitors really looking to extend their excellent record against Lecce recently after losing just once in 24 meetings prior to today. After a slow start, really, Olivier Giroud opened the scoring in the first half an hour, sweeping a lovely move home from Theo Hernandez, his international teammate. They double their lead then while you were away with Dutchman Tijani Reinders scoring a brilliant individual effort. He took on about 3 players and just faced himself one-on-one with Vladimir Falcone, who really didn't stand a chance as he swept the ball into the net past him. That would be his first goal for the club. We have had opportunities for Lecce, though. You know, their striker Banda, you know, he looks a real threat on that left-hand side. But the one chance he had, he faced an in-form Mike Manigan, who saved it brilliantly with a save you'd really look out for with the cameras. So in we came at the break. It was 2-0. So the second half now should be an interesting contest. See how Lecce come out. But you'd expect Milan to go on and get the 3 points here. But we've still got a long way to go yet. It's Lecce 0, Milan 2, with about 45 minutes to go.
Dortmund have taken the lead against Stuttgart.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Tell us about the goal, Matthew Key.
Well, it's come completely against the run of play, Josh. I mentioned the fact that Dortmund had yet to have a shot, and they've scored with their first one of the game, and it's Nicholas Füllkrug. He was clinical in midweek. He's been clinical today. Ryerson, with his first foray forward from the right-back position, did brilliantly well, put a cross right in that corridor of uncertainty. Julian Brandt was there at the near post. He seemed to just miss the ball, in truth, but it completely fooled the Stuttgart defender. There was Füllkrug, back post, goal gaping, and he was never going to miss. Dortmund, so fortunate to be ahead. Stuttgart, so unlucky. But that is football for you, and Dortmund will have Gregor Kobel to thank if they get to half-time at 1-0 up. 38 minutes gone, and it's Stuttgart 0, Dortmund 1 against the run of play.
To Jordan Agola, tell us about that Crystal Palace equaliser.
What a start to this game we are having here. It was a Berechi Eze, the man I mentioned many times before a ball was kicked in this game. twinkle-toed his way into the box. The Everton defenders couldn't get near him. They didn't know what to do. And in the end, Brantford had no option, I guess, but to take him down. Otherwise, Eze would have probably walked it into the back of the net. He was taken down, and it was him himself, Berechi Eze, who stepped up for the penalty. And it was an Ivan Toney-like penalty. He just nonchalantly walked up to the penalty spot and just guided it past Jordan Pickford. Literally didn't even put it in the corner. It was a fantastic penalty. It's 1-1. What a fast start to this match at Selhurst Park. We've got a great game here. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
To the Emirates with Johnny Holmes to give us an update between Arsenal and Burnley.
This game has started exactly how you would have expected it to. Arsenal with all the possession, looking extremely comfortable on the ball early on, not really creating too much. They did have a corner whipped in by Saka, Gabriel's header just over the bar, and Burnley are looking to counter. Who'd have thought it? They were able to almost do so, coming forward. Amdouni with a driving run on the break. His shot from range easily and comfortably dealt with by David Raya. It's what you'd expect from this game so far, but no goals yet. 0-0, 9 minutes played.
What are your thoughts on Burnley, Johnny? I mean, the Clarets have lost 9 of their opening 11 league fixtures this season. Again, I feel like whenever I cover Burnley, I always end up dragging them through the mud. Do you think they can get something from this game today?
Oh, it's going to be tricky. I mean, early on, Arsenal, as I say, are dominating the ball. The Emirates is a tough place to go at the best of times. And Burnley have always tried, under Company, to play this stylish, attacking, aggressive football. Maybe today he's realised he can't just turn up to the Emirates and do that. Burnley are definitely sitting back and trying to hit them on the break, which is the only possible way I can see a result for Burnley here. Do I really see it, though? Josh, I don't see it at all.
Tell us how you really feel, Johnny. Tell us how you really feel. Let's go to Old Trafford now. Manchester United hosting Luton today. Ed Dowling opening 10 minutes. How have they been?
My word, Josh. Miss of the season so far, I think, for Manchester United and Rasmus Højlund. We're seeing Luton's shape really get exposed so far. With the 3 at the back, it's not wide enough. And Bruno Fernandes, I believe, fires the ball down the right wing. Rashford's got acres of space, no one around him. Whips a really good ball in, but it comes at about chest height for Rasmus Højlund, who's on the penalty spot, basically. No one around him. It just hits him in the chest, comes off. Somehow, United don't convert from about 5 yards out. Pretty crazy start to this game, but it's all United so far. Luton, I don't think, have had a touch in the United half so far. 10 minutes gone, 0-0.
It's really incredible, isn't it? Oh, wait, no, before we do, it's been an equaliser for Stuttgart.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
What a game you're watching, Matthew Key.
Yes, and it's no less than Stuttgart deserved. They've equalised, and it's Dennis Undav who has got the goal, and it's brilliantly finished, you have to say. He's trying to fill the boots of Guirassy, Josh, who everyone knows has had such a fantastic start to the season, and it's perhaps no coincidence that their form has gone down slightly since his absence. Undav yet to score in the Bundesliga this season, and he's already had a couple of chances today that he's just snatched that a bit, if he'd taken his time, could have done better. This time, none of that at all. He slid through and just calmly slots the ball with his left foot past Kobel, who could do absolutely nothing about this one. So, there you go, Stuttgart level, and it's just what they deserve. Stuttgart 1, Dortmund 1.
Thank you very much. Matt, what do you make of Dortmund? They've been in a bit of poor form. Same for Stuttgart. Both these teams are really... They need something, don't they, both these teams? They've kind of started the season well, sliding a little bit. It's been tough.
Yeah, I think, obviously, if you look at Stuttgart first, they couldn't have sort of dreamt of this start that they find themselves in. 3rd in the Bundesliga, just behind Bayern Munich. But as I said, without Guirassy, they've struggled to score goals, and I think that's affected confidence throughout the team. Lost to Heidenheim last week, which... even if they weren't as good as they have been all season, you'd expect them to win. So a bit of a shocker there. But they've been really positive so far. And he's on the bench, Guirassy. I don't know whether that's had any influence. And on the other half, Dortmund, as I say, so good in the Champions League last week, but their league form just letting them down, as it so often does. But they've got a big chance in the German Cup with Bayern and Leipzig already out of that one. And as I say, this group they're in the Champions League, the way they're playing at the moment, they can take confidence into these Bundesliga games. And I know they had the lead today, but they've got to improve because it's been an abject performance in truth. And they're lucky that they're not behind, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm very lucky that they're not behind. Thank you very much, Matthew Key, in that one. Well, obviously, we covered earlier about Tottenham and Wolves, which was a 1-1 win, which was a 2-1 game in that game. Bayern Munich, they're currently beating, but they're currently being 2-0 in that game. Kane has scored another 2 goals. That man is absolutely lighting up the Bundesliga. It's absolutely incredible. Some other scores around Europe, which may be of interest to you as we'll go around. There's the 5:30 game, which we won't be covering on Football Live, is Bournemouth v Newcastle, so keep an eye on that one. In Ligue 1 at 4 o'clock, it's Reims v PSG. Then at 8 o'clock, it's Le Havre v Monaco. Bayern Munich, I said, I made it 2-0 against Heidenheim. By Augsburg are losing 1-0 to Hoffenheim. Darmstadt drawing 0-0 with Mainz. Stuttgart and Dortmund, as Matthew Key just described brilliantly, has been 1-1 in that game. And Bochum are draw pay at 5:30 against FC Cologne. Richard Bond, as we heard a little bit, it was Lecce 0, AC Milan 2. Richard, we've had about 56 minutes played of this game, 10 minutes into that second half. How's it been?
Well, Milan have started as they finished on the attack, and they've had a good chance in the second half, and it was that Nigerian man, Chukwueze. He's looked entertaining at times when he's had the ball, and he picked the ball up on the right-hand side, cut inside, and he's just flashed a shot, and it's just hit the side netting from about 20 yards out. And I tell you what, I think the keeper was beaten on that opportunity, so he's looking lively. You know, he's only had a few starts since he's moved from Villarreal in the summer, but he does look entertaining to watch. But at the moment, though, second half going as it went in the first, it's Lecce 0, Milan 2.
Thank you very much, Richard Bond. And the other one, Juventus and Calgary, that's coming up at 5 o'clock. And then at 7:45, it's Monza v Torino. In the Spanish Liga, Rayo Vallecano, they lost to Girona. Girona turned around 2-1. The fairy tale continues for them. And when are we going to start considering them title challenges? Almeria, they are drawing 0-0 with Real Sociedad currently. 2 minutes gone in that game. As for the rest of the games of La Liga today, well, there's 2 at 5:30. Granada and Getafe and Osasuna and Las Palmas. And then Real Madrid start against Valencia at 8 o'clock. You're up to date then with all the games around Europe. Let's go back into the Premier League then. Let's go and have a few discussions with some of our reporters. Actually, before we do that, let's go to Johnny Holmes. There was an offside given, but a great move by Arsenal.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta has got his side playing some lovely, silky football here in the first 15 minutes or so at the Emirates Stadium. A long ball over the top to Trossard, which is where the offside flag eventually came from. He deals the ball off the defender who tried to bring it under control, and then Arsenal snap into attack. It's a lovely ball by Trossard into Rice with this gorgeous little layoff flick back towards Martinelli, who flashes the ball across the box. Trossard wouldn't quite have got on the end of it, but offside had already been given. But it's just a little glimpse into the sort of football that Arsenal are capable of when they're at their flowing best. Still 0-0 here. Arsenal looking good. 16 minutes played.
Do you think Burnley will be able to match them here, or do you think, as you say, you think they've sort of learned from their lessons, they're not going to try and do that?
I think it would be suicide for Burnley to just attack Arsenal here. I mean, Arsenal have got the strength in numbers. They've got the ability on the ball. So if Burnley are going to get something from this game, as I said earlier, it's going to have to be on the break. But in the last 10 minutes or so, since that flash shot from Amdouni, they haven't really showed anything. It's all Arsenal. Burnley are going to have to try and get a grip on this game to get anything out of it.
What about Kai Havertz? Just a quick word on him, Johnny. What are your thoughts on his Arsenal career? He's getting a lot for every game ticks by, and the pressure ramps up on him.
It does. I watched them in the Champions League, and you can tell that he's trying. I think the talk and the discussion surrounding him is affecting the way he's playing. Not free-flowing, the smile isn't on the face, and the pressure just seems to be showing on the ball in the final third. He's trying to rush, trying to make things happen, but just not clicking for Kai Havertz at the moment, and hopefully for his sake, he can get something going in this match. Not really seeing much of him so far. Fingers crossed he can show something for Arsenal fans.
I mean, he has a fantastic record against Burnley. He scored 3 Premier League goals versus Burnley. That's more than against any other side. His only goal in 8 appearances for Arsenal was a penalty against Bournemouth in September. Right, Arsenal 0, Burnley 0, then Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1. I haven't had Jordan Nicola in a while since the goal. Jordan, it was a ferocious start, a lot going on, a lot of goals. The things calmed down a little bit at Selhurst Park.
It's calmed down for Everton, but it hasn't calmed down for Crystal Palace. They are all over Everton. Berchieze is really sending a message to Gareth Southgate with this performance so far. But yeah, it's all Crystal Palace. It's only a matter of time before they make it 2-1. They haven't really had the clearest of chances since the equaliser. But I'm telling you, the match is being played in Everton's box. So it's literally just a matter of time. Everton did have a half chance with Dwight McNeil. There's a cross over the top from Harrison, and McNeil probably should have done better. It was a tame effort and easy for the goalkeeper. But it's all Crystal Palace. Only a matter of time before it's 2-1. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
What do you make of the whole Roy Hodgson talk, Jordan? Obviously, they won last time. They're looking for the first back-to-back win since April, where Roy Hodgson won 3 in a row when he first took over Crystal Palace. Do you think he's the right fit for Palace? Do you think they're rightfully frustrated? What are your thoughts on it?
I think he is the right fit. At first, with Vieira, Palace looked as if they were in a good state. Didn't go so well, and it was Roy Hodgson that brought them back to life. And since then, I feel he hasn't really looked back. Palace have been on the up, currently 11th in the table. And I see good things for Crystal Palace. Now they've got Eze and Olise back in the team. I can only see Palace going up from here. They've got their striker, Edouard, finally scoring goals. So things look good for Crystal Palace. They're keeping clean sheets. I can't see why anyone would be saying anything negative towards Roy Hodgson right now. Palace are looking good.
Exactly. What about Everton as well? Sean Dyche. They started off a little bit slow, didn't they, under Dyche this season, but they've really turned things around.
Yeah, they've really turned things around. That one really surprised me. I was thinking Everton could see themselves in a relegation battle. They still might, to be honest, but their last couple of results have been excellent. They've only lost 2 in their last 5. Sean Dyche has really turned things around. He's got Tarkowski playing some great football. He's got Calvert-Lewin scoring goals. And Sean Dyche, he has his way. It might not be the most attractive way of playing, but he has his way and it gets points. And so far, it has been working for Everton. Obviously, Everton have got a great record against Crystal Palace. Like I've said, I don't think that's going to continue today. We'll see. But Sean Dyche has been good for Everton, 100%.
1 point from their opening 5 league fixtures this season, but they've earned 10 in their subsequent 6 matches. Thank you very much, Jordan and Carlisle. Let's go to Ed Dowling. Haven't heard from our man that's watching over the Man United game so far, and a great timing here because Garnacho just had a chance.
He has had a chance, a very good one as well, and he made a real hash of it. Cuts inside onto his favoured right foot, about 20 yards out. Not too many defenders around him, and he blasts it so high over the bar. I can't believe he's got under it that much. And on the monitor here, it just cut to Sam Allardyce and Alex Ferguson sitting in the stands watching on, and they did not look very impressed, and I don't think the crowd were either. 0-0 here, 20 minutes gone.
And let's just quickly talk about Manchester United. What words do you have to share on their current situation and the way it is? Because it's not for the faint-hearted, is it?
It's not, no. And I think a lot of pundits, a lot of commentators have said recently that not many managers survive this from this stage with Erik ten Hag. This is usually a sign of the end times, and I think you feel that if he was one of the earlier managers in the queue, if you like, if he took over around about the time when Jose Mourinho took charge, I think he'd be gone already, truth be told, of these results. And I think it's just a case of the Glazers wanting to go in a new direction and back a long-term project, but doesn't seem to be going very well so far. As you can see, they're not their first season in. We're 2 seasons in, they spent a lot of money, and they're really struggling against most teams they're playing. They're very lucky to beat Fulham last week, and then either side of that is a defeat to Copenhagen, who they should really be beating, and to a much-changed Newcastle side at home. It's not looking good, and I think if there's anything but a victory here today, I think the question marks over Erik ten Hag's future are going to be very prominent indeed. Put it that way, Josh.
That's the key, though, a long-term project, Ed. This isn't just a manager who's there for quick success. Man United have been in a mess. They've been in a mess for many years. It's going to take a long time to turn this around. Should they have the confidence in Ten Hag like Arsenal did in Arteta?
I think it's a slightly different situation. I think by this point in time, Arteta had started to show more than what we're seeing from Erik ten Hag right now in terms of style of play. Some of the football I've seen from United, especially in that Newcastle game, it's so drab. And I don't personally understand what the system is. What kind of tactic they're going for. It's a real dark situation for Man United at the moment. We'll see today if they can get anything against a struggling Luton Town side.
It promises to be an action-packed afternoon of football tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, right here on Brila FM. 5 big matches in the Premier League, including Chelsea against Manchester City. That's the late kick-off. Before that, 4 other big games. West Ham United against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool look to close in on the leaders with a home game against Brentford. Aston Villa's home form is second to none. They entertain Fulham, and Brighton take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Dean Kilford, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Chelsea take on Man City and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Blues or the Citizens, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on Chelsea versus Man City, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5, must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay, guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What you're talking about now? They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brila FM every Saturday and Sunday.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
We have a goal to welcome you back.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Lecce half in the deficit and making a game of it, Richard Bond.
Yes, Lecce won, AC Milan 2, and well, completely against the run of play, but Lecce threw on a few substitutes recently, and it's Nicola Sansone who's one of them, and to be honest, he's not afraid of scoring against AC Milan. This is his 6th goal he's scored against him in his career. Not a big prolific scorer. In fact, this is his first goal for Lecce, but it was a lovely little set-piece routine. Corner came in, flicked on by Alexis Blin, and there is Sansone there just to poach in at the back post, just to prod it home. Game on here, about half an hour to go. Lecce 1, AC Milan 2.
Off the line at Arsenal, Johnny Holmes.
Pressure really building for the home side here. A few efforts, including a Saka shot that was saved by Trafford against the bar. Then later on, it's pinball in the box. Koleosho and Bayer nodding it back and forth between each other. And at one point, Bayer tries to nod it back to his goalkeeper, Trafford, who is sent scrambling back towards his own goal and just about claws it away. A foul was given in the build-up, but warning signs for Burnley here. Arsenal all over them. 0-0.
Burnley living dangerously. 4 shots on target for 4 shots for Arsenal, 1 on target. Burnley 2 shots, 2 on target. If you look at those, things have been pretty even, but Arsenal seem like they're peppering that goal and only a matter of time before Burnley cave in. Let's go to Matthew Key and let's hear from a halftime report between Dortmund and Stuttgart.
Yeah, well, it's level pegging here in Germany, but it's not been a level game at all. It's been all Stuttgart, and despite going behind to what was Borussia Dortmund's first shot of the game, they equalised very quickly. The first big event was in 10 minutes when Chris Kelreich missed a penalty, or sorry, it was saved by Gregor Kobel, and he just went from strength to strength, Kobel. He's made 6 saves in that first half. Quite some achievement, and really the only reason the game's still level, but it was Dortmund that took the lead against the run of play. Fulkrug, right place, right time to finish a Ryerson cross. But as I said, Stuttgart hit back almost immediately, and Dennis Undav with a nice left-footed finish, just sliding it past Kobel, who was finally beaten. And just before the half, Josh, another big save from Kobel, perhaps his best of the game. Undav again made a really good run to the near post, got his head on it, really powerful header. Kobel, pinpoint reactions, tips it over the bar. And I think Stuttgart will be feeling, what more do we have to do to get past the walls of Kobel again? They've done it once, can they do it again? Borussia Dortmund will need to be much better in this second half to avoid what otherwise looks like it's going to be a home win. Half time here in Germany, really good game this. Stuttgart 1, Borussia Dortmund 1.
Lecce have completely turned that game on its head because they have got their second.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
2 quick-fire goals which have drawn the scores level in Italy. It's Lecce 2, AC Milan 2, Richard Bond.
Well, would you believe that this game was completely in Milan's hands? But they've done it again. They've thrown away a lead, and it's Lecce 2, AC Milan 2, and it's that man Banda. I tell you what, he's looked so good. He just hasn't had that end product. He did this time, though. Lecce won the ball in midfield, robbed it through, and they've just played it from about 25 yards into Banda. There's a Milan player on the floor, though. They're disputing the goal. They're saying it shouldn't be given. But there's Banda there, just on the edge of the box. He's just curled it, though, into the bottom left-hand corner. He's not worrying about that. Back on level terms here, with about 15-20 minutes to go here on the clock. This is going to be an interesting finale here. Lecce 2, Milan 2.
Hoyland came just really close there and led down and just putting Man United in front, but he couldn't.
No, it was a lot better than his first chance, I'll put it that way. He receives the ball really close to the goal, and he's very strong. He hunches over, he tries to spin and shoot at the same time, but it gets blocked by one of the defenders. He does offer a lot, Hoyland, I have to say. He's one of the better strikers, I think, in this post-Sir Alex Ferguson era that United have had. Very close to an opener there for the home side, but Luton have had their chances as well. They've not been too shabby so far. We've got a dangerous corner. Come back to me in a second. 30 minutes in here, still 0-0, but it could change very soon, Josh.
Francis galore at the Emirates. Arsenal down 1, and then Burnley with another down theirs.
Absolutely. I mean, we could have had 2 goals in the space of a minute here. First chance goes to Arsenal. A corner whipped in, and we discussed Kai Havertz, didn't we, Josh? Well, perfect example right there. Clear header. He's not marked. About 6 yards out, if that, and he just balloons it over. Really should be doing better, and he knows it. It's written all over his face. Kai Havertz really should be putting that away. And then down at the other end, on the break, come Burnley, and Goodmanson suddenly, out of nowhere, is charging through on goal. He goes for a little snap shot, low towards the corner. It's a decent save down to his left by David Raya. Burnley's first real clear-cut chance of the game comes straight after Arsenal's best chance of the game. 0-0, 31 minutes played.
Even Jordan Akola is getting on in the action because Crystal Palace have just had a half chance.
Yeah, just a half chance here. Eberici Eze, he's really floating in this game. And he was through on goal, and he was unselfish. He tried to square it towards Odsonne Edouard, but he just got the pass wrong, and it just didn't connect to Edouard. But Eberici Eze, before that, he went down in the box. I wasn't too sure myself, but the VAR checked it. And in fact, it was a dive from Eze, and he was given a yellow card. So he needs to be careful because he's definitely in the mood. The crowd are cheering every time he gets the ball, but he needs to just calm down a bit now that he's on a yellow card. But it's still all Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
His new contract, and he's playing like a man that possessed. Eze, really good performance from him so far. Going to just go back to Matthew Key, just talk quickly about Stuttgart Dortmund in the Bundesliga. We'll start with Stuttgart quickly, Matthew. I mean, as for them, they claimed 21 points from a possible 24, but they've now lost back-to-back to Hoffenheim and Heidenheim with a win for Union Berlin sandwiched in between that. in terms of how they've done this season, they're obviously really, really missing Garassi, aren't they, as well? You know, he's been a big miss for them.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the bench today, which is massive lift to his team. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw him come on if Stuttgart continue to create the chances they have. I'd say that the most worrying thing for Stuttgart, who obviously normally you sort of look at them run about relegation, I think what the most concerning thing for them will be that Garassi has got a very, very small release clause in today's market, which I can't see many teams in Europe that are going to be opposed to that. You look at someone like Chelsea and Man United, all the big boys in Europe, they're going to be calling for him, and if they lose him permanently, that could really derail them, especially if it comes in January. So that will be a big worry for the home team.
As for Dortmund, I mean, they'll be looking at Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen with envy, won't they? Because they're just not at the level compared to them this year.
No, absolutely. I think Borussia Dortmund last year, obviously, they came so close to that title. A lot of their games were absolutely manic. They'd go 2 up within 10 minutes and have the game wrapped up. But you know what Borussia Dortmund are like? It's never quite wrapped up. It ends up being a crazy 4-3, and that takes a lot out of you emotionally. And I think this year, Terzic has almost tried to make them slightly more solid. I think you can see that defensively they've really improved this season, but has come at a bit of a price at the offensive end, which is normally where Dortmund don't have any problems at all. I think that's demonstrated by the success they've had in the Champions League this season. But maybe it's going to come at a price of their league form. So we'll have to see. It's a bit more open with Leverkusen right up there as well. But you'd have to say it's going to be very difficult to stop Bayern and Kane. And last week's De Classica just shows that, really.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. Let's start with the Premier League. 36 minutes gone. It's 1-1 still between Crystal Palace and Everton. Palace just gone up to 2.70. The draw is 2.62, and Everton away win is 3.50. Manchester United against Luton. You just heard Ed Dowling with the chances that go in banging. 36 minutes gone. That is, of course, Man United at 1.44 for the win, 4.33 for the draw, and it's just gone up for Luton to 9.50. Arsenal Burnley again is still 0-0 after 36 minutes. Arsenal just gone up to 1.33. The draw has gone down to 4.75, and the away win is gone down to 13.0. The other games are concentrating on in the Bundesliga. Stuttgart versus Dortmund. Just about to kick off in the second half. Stuttgart are 2.25 for the win. The draw is 3.0 and 3.80. A healthy odd for Borussia Dortmund to win that game. The game in La Liga, 77 minutes gone. It's gone to 2-2 after Lecce losing 2-0. They managed to go on level terms in a matter of a few minutes. Lecce now are 7.0 for the win. I would love to see what the odds are before when they were 2-0 down. 1.67 for the draw and 3.50 for an away win. Now that is the win, loser, draw. Now if we actually go for both teams to score, which is many people love that kind of odds, probably the healthier ones, Man United, Luton, to both teams to score is 3.0. Arsenal, Burnley, to both teams to score is 4.0. In Spanish La Liga, 22 minutes gone, it's still 0-0 between Almeria and Real Sociedad. Both teams to score is 2.40. In the Saudi Pro League, it's 38 minutes gone, it's El Hudud 1, Hazm 0. Both teams to score again is 1.60, and Fayha versus Etifak is 0-0 after 38 minutes, and it's 2.88 for both teams to score. I can tell you, it's suspended the Bayern Munich. I was going to give you the odds in the Bundesliga, but it's suspended the Bayern Munich. It's also suspended in Stuttgart, Borussia Dortmund. But both teams to score in Darmstadt, Mainz, 49 minutes gone, still 0-0, is 3.80. Of course, all these prices are subject to change.
The Emirates is seeing some game, isn't it, Johnny Holmes? And they've just had another chance.
Arsenal with several chances now, including a distant effort by Trossard that has been saved by Trafford. Dealt with well, and from the resulting corner, Arsenal go close again. They really are turning up the screw here. Arsenal have had opportunities. Can they take one? Arsenal 0, Burnley 0, 38 minutes played.
Will Arsenal be disappointed with this half, the fact they haven't taken the lead?
I think so. I think Arteta will be happy with the way they've set up, the way they've played. The only thing missing, of course, is the all-important first goal, and that's what matters. It's the only stat that matters is that scoreline. So Arteta will be telling his boys, if they go in at half-time level, we need that goal.
Lecce got a quick fight, a double, which brought the game level with AC Milan to 2-2, and Richard Bond, they're very close to getting that third.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Lecce nearly got the goal that would have put them ahead. And I tell you what, this guy that's come on, Nicolas Sansone, he's making his debut today. German-born Italian striker, got a couple of caps, has been injured for a while. He's just come in the team now, just off the bench. He's changed the game. He's got one goal, he's made one goal. He had a free kick on the edge of the box. He's whipped it round the wall, and it's just gone into the side net, and Managan was absolutely beaten all ends up. If that had gone in, that would have made an interesting contest. But we're still level though, and we've got all to play for you. It's about 10 minutes left to go. Lecce 2, Milan 2.
Man United, they really need a result today, and unfortunately, they're not really close to getting one because Luton have just had a great chance.
They have. It was Ogbene on the right side, which a really good ball in. Carlton Morris creates really good separation actually between the centre backs and gets a good header low and hard into the bottom right corner, but Onana's better to it and tips it round the post. And we had another chance just shortly after, I think again from Morris, testing the United goalies. I think both sides have had an equal number of shots on target, which I don't think would have been on many people's minds before this game. Unfortunately, Christian Eriksen has just gone down injured and he will have to be replaced. So £60 million man Mason Mount will be entering the fray. And a rare appearance for the home side. Let's see if how he can affect the game. A lot of pressure on him, I imagine, considering the criticism around him and the fact that he just hasn't played recently. But 39 minutes in, it's been quite a poor game so far. It's 0-0 between United and Luton.
Eriksen going down might not be a bad thing, Ed Downing, because a lot of people have been very critical of these performances over the last few weeks.
It's true. And having watched him a lot for Tottenham, I think what a lot of people don't maybe realise about him is I don't really think that holding role is his best position. You know, he's very immobile, especially at this age, and his real skills are finding the pass and cute sort of movement in and around the box. So he's too deep for my liking. Obviously, I'm not Erik ten Hag. He definitely knows better than me. But yeah, let's see. Mason Mount, he brings energy. He brings something a bit different to Christian Eriksen. How can he affect this game? There needs to be a bit of energy, I have to say, so far. The midfield battle is kind of non-existent so far. It's just defences trading passes of each other. Pretty dull at the moment. Not a lot of quality on either side. But let's see if we can get a goal before the half. I'm pretty optimistic. 40 minutes in, 0-0.
Is this a game so far that has restored your confidence in Man United?
To put it shortly, no.
There we go. There we go. That is a insightful opinion. Let's go to Jordan Nicola because it's 1-1 between Crystal Palace and Everton. Jordan, any more updates?
It's still all Crystal Palace. I'm surprised you haven't come back to me with the goal. It's Jingle in the back, saying it's 2-1 Crystal Palace because, yeah, it's literally been all Palace. Eze's working his magic. Everton have shown signs of a bit of a fight back, but not enough, really, not enough. But Roy Hodgson, he won't be happy that his side are not potentially going to the half-time being in front because they do deserve it. They've had chances, but just not clinical enough from Edouard. Eze played him through, and Edouard was tackled before he could get his shot off. There was another opportunity where Edouard, you could just see a bit short of confidence, took too long in front of goal again. So it's all Crystal Palace. Just a question of when the goal will come. Maybe it will come when Olise comes onto the pitch, if he comes onto the pitch. But yeah, all Palace so far at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
Looks like they heard your blunt answer, Ed, because Man United just had a chance.
They have indeed. It was a really good chance, nearly eating my words as soon as they left my mouth. But Garnacho has put it wide. He was released by Bruno, I believe. He cuts inside. He does everything right, to be fair. But it's Ogbene again, who's had a really good game. Just nips it away from him before he can strike the ball and Luton recover, and then Mason Mount fired it out for a goal kick. So they came very close. They're probably the closest they've come so far, aside from Hoyland's chance. But they're pushing towards the end of their second half. Let's see if they can get a goal and shut me up, Josh.
Yeah, I feel like they might have probably a hard time doing that and shutting you up. Anyway, yeah, so Man United 0, Luton 0, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1, Arsenal 0, Burnley 0. Let's go to Johnny Holmes actually and just talk Arsenal and Burnley. Closing into the final few stages of this half, will Arsenal? I said will Arsenal be happy? What about Burnley? Will they be pleased that it's gone?
I think they'll be pleased they haven't conceded here, Josh. That's the only real takeaway for Burnley. They haven't really been in the game so far. It has been all Arsenal in terms of possession and chances, really. Burnley on the break, a couple of flash shots here and there. But getting into half-time, I think Vincent Kompany would be happy with 0-0. And then he can restructure his side for the second half and probably take a point away at the Emirates. So far, so good. If the job for Burnley is to get a point, it's job done so far. As for Arsenal, by far the better side. No goals so far. That's what they need. Can they get one? 43 minutes played, it's 0-0.
Back to John Nicola because Palace have just come close to getting their second.
Yes, this time again, Odsonne Edouard and again Eze. If the goal comes, you will think it will be Eze with the assist and Edouard with the goal because he's always making the runs and he made a run in behind. Eze played a great ball over the top, but Edouard again just didn't look confident in front of goal. Tried to just nick it over Pickford, but did it half-heartedly. In the end, the flag did come up for offside, so it wouldn't have counted, but Edouard just lacking that confidence in front of goal yet again. So 2 minutes to half-time, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
Yeah, Edouard. I mean, the fact that Jeffrey Shupp is one short of becoming the second Ghanaian to make 250 Premier League appearances. Teammate to Jordan Ayew reached the milestone last weekend. That's a little bit of a trivia for you then in this game. So there are the scores right now. In Europe, the scores currently, as we go around briefly, are as followed. It's still 0-0 between Almeria and Real Sociedad. AC Milan and Lecce, they're currently 2-2. Lecce been terrific to turn it around. We'll go to Richard Bond shortly. Bayern Munich in the second half are currently still beating Heidenheim 2-0. Darmstadt and 0-0 with Mainz, and Stuttgart 1-0 with Dortmund. Matthew Key, 54 minutes gone there, 10 minutes into the second half. Any updates?
Oh, it should be 2-1 Stuttgart. They should have turned it around, Josh. And would you believe it? It's Fulreich again with the goal gaping. He missed the penalty in the first half, and this is arguably an even worse miss. It through on goal, calmly put it in with your right foot. He puts it wide. Awful miss. Stuttgart 1, Dortmund 1.
Arsenal have their goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
They deserve that, Johnny Holmes, don't they? And rightfully so, they're in front.
They have, it's been coming, but there's some concern here for Trossard, who has put Arsenal in front, but he's gone down and immediately players are rushing to him to make sure he's okay. Let's talk about the goal first. Arsenal have finally gone in front. They do deserve it. The ball comes over the top, it's hanging in the air, and it looks like it's Trafford and Trossard who both go for it. He does get his head on it, does Trossard. Into the back of the net it goes, and now the questions all turn towards, is he okay? They have the medical staff on the pitch. He seems to be moving, which is a good sign. And Arsenal do lead. Cross came in. Nice work on the left by Martinelli. The ball is hanging in the air. Trossard attacks Saka's knockback. And yeah, he smashes into the post. That's got to hurt. Let's hope he's okay. But Arsenal lead 1-0, 46 minutes played.
Well, are we concerned for Trossard right now? What's the situation around him?
He's on the floor. Seems to be moving. He's got the medical staff around him. Hopefully he will be able to continue. He's in the recovery position, eyes are open, completely conscious, and now sat up. Brilliant to see. Applause around the stadium. Trossard seems to be okay, just a little bit shaken.
Yeah, that's really, really good news for Trossard and Arsenal. How will that change, Johnny, their approach now into this second half? Because that goal right before halftime is crucial, isn't it?
Oh, it's the perfect time to score, Josh, and Arteta will be supremely happy with that one. Perfect time to score, and now Burnley's plan, Vincent Kompany's half-time team talk, all go out the window, and they have to completely change their tactics here, whereas Arsenal can come out in the second half, take their foot off the gas a little bit, play with a bit more composure, knowing they've got the lead. Perfect news for Mikel Arteta's side.
For Arsenal, they don't normally score in the first half. None of the past 10 Premier League goals have come in the second half, although they've yet to score in the opening 15 minutes in the division this season. They didn't score in the opening 15 minutes, but they did score in the first half, so well done to Arsenal, unbeaten in 37 home league games against newly promoted opposition since losing 1-0 to Newcastle on 7th of November 2010. That's winning 32 and drawing 5 in that time. Arsenal getting their huge goal. 5 minutes added on between Jordan Carlo. It's half time at Manchester United and Luton. So let's go to half time report from Ed Dowling.
Pretty drab first half here from Old Trafford. United expectedly came the closest. Rasmus Højlund, the ball hitting him on the chest about 8 yards from goal. Not really a lot more he could do with it, but when you get a chance that close to the goal, you should really be scoring. Garnacho has had the best of it for Manchester United. Aside from that, 2 chances in similar sort of areas, but one time skying the ball so high over the goal, I can't believe he's kept it in the stadium. And the other time, the ball nicked by Ogbene, the Luton defender, who's been really good today, actually. Luton have had their chances. Carlton Morris with a good header, well saved by Andre Onana, but it's been a half lacking in quality and any real invention. We've seen Eriksen replaced by Mason Mount. Let's see how he can affect proceedings in the second half, but I think, Josh Bailey, if it continues like this in the second half, Ten Hag will have to make some changes. Otherwise, I think he could be at risk of a conversation being had about his job. Half time here at Old Trafford, it's 0-0.
Strong words from Ed Dowling to finish that first half. Then updates on Trossard right now. He is leaving the pitch, clutching his arm, thinking it could be a sprain or a fracture, but he is jogging off Johnny Holmes, so he is going to be substituted then.
It looks like he may well be coming off the pitch. He certainly isn't on the field of play at the moment. We're very close to half-time here. We've played 49 minutes, give or take, and he's gone down the tunnel early, probably to get some medical attention and for his physio team to take a look at the injury and then decide if he can come back on in the second half. So Arsenal are going to have to finish the last few seconds of this half with 10 men, which they seem to be doing okay so far. Still 1-0 to Arsenal. 49 minutes played.
Thank you very much, Johnny Holmes. Let's now go to Richard Bond. Desperate defending from Milan, who are cruising in that game, and it is turned into an absolute disastrous evening for them.
Well, the tides are completely turned in this one. Lecce pushing for a winner. That man Sansoni, he's all over this game at the moment. He's had 2 real opportunities. Juan Gonzalez came on the right hand side. He's put a ball in. From about, it's like a David Beckham-esque cross into the box. There comes the big man, 32-year-old. He's just smashed a header against the post. He's come out. The keeper's completely beaten on that one. Milan clearing their lines desperately. On come Lecce. One more attack. Just a couple of minutes ago. Ball put through from the midfield. Sansoni's on it. He's bearing down on the keeper, and the keeper produced a brilliant save down to his left just to tip the ball around the post. This is unbelievable stuff from Lecce. They've only won once in their last 22 meetings against Milan. They've got 2 minutes to try and find a winner. Milan are clutching on. It's Lecce 2, Milan 2.
Half time at Arsenal. Let's go to Johnny Holmes because they got a crucial goal before the end of that first half, which changes the complexion of this game. Holy.
They did, absolutely, and it's just what Arteta will have wanted from his side, who were probing. They were knocking on the door throughout with lots of possession, 70% possession, in fact, for Arsenal. Absolutely dominant, but unable to find a goal until right at the end of the half, where Leandro Trossard leapt higher than Trafford in the Burnley goal to nod the ball into the back of the net after Saka was able to head the ball back across the goal. Trossard then connected with Trafford, and then the post significantly, and went down for quite a few minutes. There was concern around the ground, but he seems to be okay, and the likelihood is that he will come back out for the second half, and Arsenal will come out into that half 1-0 in front.
Finally, Jordan Nicolai, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1. It was an entertaining opening few minutes, Jordan.
Definitely, the match started with fireworks. Everton got it started. It was a goal from Mikalenko. Great start to the game, honestly, and it wasn't long before Palace equalised. A fantastic start. Not many would have expected a lively one at Selhurst Park, but that's definitely what I've witnessed here. Since then, it hasn't been too many clear-cut chances. Edouard probably had the best chance after that. Eze put him through, and this time Edouard finally got his shot off, because previously he'd hesitated and taken too long to get his shot off, but this time he got his shot off. But it was a comfortable save for Jordan Pickford. If anyone's going to get the next goal, it does look like Crystal Palace. But now that Sean Dyche has a chance to talk to his team, I'm sure we're going to see a different Everton side in this second half, because the likes of Calvert-Lewin and Harrison, even though he got an assist, have been very quiet. It's been pretty much the Eze show at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
There was fireworks to start the game between Crystal Palace and Everton. There's been fireworks to end the game between Lecce and AC Milan because they have done the unthinkable.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
They've done the unthinkable and they've turned it around. They're winning 3-2. What a finish to that game. An absolute disaster for AC Milan, who we thought were finally going to get their first win in 4. But it has turned horribly for them. And now they're going to be winless in 5. Olivier Giroud was sent off amongst all of that as well. What an incredible moment for Lecce. Matthew Key was just, give us a brief update, Matthew, because Dortmund have just hit the post.
Yeah, finally a bit of attacking promise from Borussia Dortmund, and it's Sabitzer. It's a cross into the box, and he's taken it down really well on his chest. Shot wasn't quite clean, got a little flick on it, and just hit the post and goes the right side of it from a Stuttgart point of view. Much better from Borussia Dortmund. 62 minutes in, Dortmund 1, Stuttgart 1.
And before we go to FJ and the team, Richard Bond unleashed the hell on us.
Oh, I can't believe it. It's Lecce have managed to surely get a win here deep in stoppage time. And it's a lovely goal from Roberto Piccoli. He smashed it from 25 yards. It's a pot shot, completely out of nowhere. And it's just flown into the top right-hand corner. Milan are stunned. They just had Olivier Giroud sent off for a second bookable offence. And this is unbelievable stuff. They're going to win for only the first time since, I think it was 2006. Unbelievable stuff here. Lecce 3, Milan 2.
Yeah, Lecce have not won in a very long time against AC Milan. They've just won one of their last 3. They've lost just one of their last 3 meetings, which is good. But after all, they haven't won since September, and what a win this is going to be for them. Now let's head off to Nigeria.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're in the last leg now. We've still got so many games to go by because we have Arsenal and Burnley. They're currently 1-0. Arsenal leading there. Crystal Palace are drawing 1-1 with Everton, and Manchester United are drawing 0-0 with Luton. In the other games as well, Borussia Dortmund are currently playing as well. They're against Stuttgart. Let's get to Matthew Key for some updates.
Well, it's still 1-1 here, Josh. It very much feels like one more goal could decide this game as we enter the last 15 minutes. Big cheer about 10 minutes ago when Guirassy was finally reintroduced to the Stuttgart fans after that hamstring injury, looking to improve on his incredible record so far this season. With those goals that Kane scored today, he has just fallen behind the Englishman in the race for the Golden Boot, but played a lot less games. And you feel like one goal here on his return, he won't care about them whatsoever. 15 minutes to go, very much in the balance. Dortmund just looking to counter-attack, to be honest. It's Stuttgart that are pushing, trying to get that winning goal. 15 minutes to go, we're set up for a grandstand finish here, I think. It's Stuttgart 1, Dortmund 1.
FJ in the break asked me when the last time Man United and Luton met in the Premier League. Strictly speaking, FJ, they have never, ever met. Yes, that's because the last time these two teams met was the English Division 1. That's obviously the old league. That was in 1992 on the 18th of April. Luton won, Manchester United won, and that was the last time. Trying to catch me out, aren't you, FJ? But not today. Not today. Not when I have a stellar team of producers. We're going to go to Richard Bond now to get that full-time report because Lecce, they were down and out, weren't they, Richard? But then, well, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of magic. And somehow they ended up winning the game 3-2.
They didn't, Josh. It was disallowed late on, just before we went. We give the goal, but after that, then minutes later, then it was just disallowed for I think it was an infringement of foul in the build-up, which was so disappointing for Lecce. But what an entertaining contest, nonetheless, we've had this afternoon. So it finished here 2-2 between Lecce and AC Milan. A fantastic second half performance from the hosts. Earned the point here at the Stadio Di Lamar. It was all started really in the second half, 25-minute breathless spell of brilliance by one man, Nicola Sansone, who scored and made a goal for his new club on debut. For Milan, it proved to be a sorry day. Once more, there's now 4 games without a win, as they lost Rafael Leao to an early hamstring injury, but recovered to take the lead through Olivier Giroud on the hour mark. Tijani Reinders scored to give them a 2-goal lead at the break, and it all looked so comfortable for them as they looked to stop the rot. Second half, though, would be all Lecce. as once again they reverted from last season. The scores were reverted, as it would be them that would come back from 2 goals down after Milan would do the same thing last season to draw the match. They could have even earned the win, as we heard. Piccoli's strike had been given late on. It was not to be, though, and it finished here. Lecce 2, Milan 2 in such an enthralling contest.
A stroke of luck for AC Milan. What heartbreak for Lecce. We're looking to get their first win since September, but VAR, it always intervenes in the most annoying ways. We have a goal in the Premier League.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's Everton who have taken the lead against Crystal Palace, striking at both starts, 2 each half. They scored within the first opening minutes in the first half to make it 1-0. Crystal Palace pegged them back. And then Everton, they've done it again, 49th minute in the second half. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. What a fast start for them. Can they hold on to this lead this time? We'll have to wait and see, because they've still got a long old way to go. Let's go to Arsenal quickly, because it's Arsenal 1, Burnley 0, 15 minutes gone, Johnny Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal are on the ball as they were for much of the first half. Burnley came out of the blocks, actually. They were firing early, first 2 minutes of the half. A couple of half chances, but nothing that David Raya and the Arsenal defence couldn't deal with. And since then, it's just reverted back to type. Arsenal peppering, sending balls into the box, trying to push forward for that second goal. And of course, as we discussed, getting a goal just before half-time is the perfect time to score. Arsenal look very relaxed, and we've played 50 minutes here. Still Arsenal 1, Burnley 0.
Doucouré was the unlikely goal scorer, which puts Everton in front in that one. Go to Man United, 0-0, 53 minutes gone. Man United need to improve, but Luton, they're holding their own at Old Trafford.
They are. United actually have improved the first sort of few minutes here of the second half. We've seen Garnacho and Højlund, both the stars, I guess, of the first half, go close. And Luton haven't really made an attempt on United's goal yet, but we're only about 7 minutes in. I think Erik ten Hag's brief has been, start quickly, get a goal as soon as you can, and really reduce the pressure, because the longer this goes on without a goal for the home side, I believe that the howls from the United crowd will only get louder. So we'll have to wait and see. Luton have got a good spell of possession here, although they can't quite make it count. So come back to me soon. I reckon there's a goal in this pretty soon. Both teams are really at it at the start of the second half, but as it stands, 52 minutes in, it's 0-0.
Jordan Nicolo, tell us about the Everton goal.
And Everton, what a start to the second half. I wonder what Sean Dyche said at half-time. Whatever he said, it worked, because Everton are in front. It was Mykolenko who actually got the first goal. He might be claiming an assist for this one, but he actually struck the volley off the post, and then it fell so kindly for Doucouré, so kindly for him to get his 4th Premier League goal of the season. They looked across to check if it was onside. These days, you got to check before you celebrate, and there still actually could be a VAR check on it, but to be honest, Doucouré looked onside, and Everton, what a start to the second half, just as they started the first half, in front, and Everton 2-1 up.
Everton, I mean, do you think they'll hold on to this one now, Jordan? I mean, Crystal Palace, that's a real kick in the teeth, because they were the better team in that first half, but just not switching on at either sides of the, in the opening exchanges of each half.
Yeah, I think Crystal Palace are really going to look back at that first half and think that they should have really took their chances. Sean Dyche, he might have had a lot to say, to be honest, if Palace went on to actually get a goal in that first half, because Eberechi Eze had a controversial moment where possibly he could have been sent off. He looked as if he caught the midfielder for Crystal Palace and for Everton, but the referee waved it off. Eze is on a yellow card already for diving, so that would have been 2 yellows if the foul was given. The foul wasn't given, so Sean Dyche wouldn't have been happy, but he's happy now, I'll tell you that much. And Palace definitely not happy. This is what happens when you don't take your chances, because now Everton is in front. They've had less of the ball, but that doesn't matter, because they're in front. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
Tell you who isn't in front anymore, Arsenal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
A very unlikely Burnley goal has pulled them back. Arsenal 1, Burnley won. We said Vincent Kompany's team liked to attack. We questioned whether that would be the right thing to do, but clearly Arsenal's goal has had to just bring them out themselves, Johnny Holmes. They've been rewarded for their bravery because they are level.
Out of absolutely nothing, and Burnley are level. It's Brownhill, it's the captain for Burnley, and it looks like it takes a deflection. It's worked on the left-hand side. Koleosho does ever so well to beat his man. Really brilliant show of skill and strength and desire to get to the byline, to keep the attack going. Complaints from the Arsenal defenders, they might have spotted a foul in there, but nothing has been given as yet. It's squared across, it finds its way out to Brownhill, who fires a shot, and it does seem to have deflected goalwards, but brilliant work by Koleosho. He's hustling, he's harrying, and yes, down under pressure does go the Arsenal. Is it Declan Rice who goes down? It is, but it hasn't been given as a foul as yet. Koleosho's ball into the box to Rodriguez, loses the ball, but out to Brownhill, and it does deflect into the back of the net. It's Tomiyasu actually who was robbed. He wants a free kick, hasn't been given. Arsenal 1, Burnley 1.
What do Arsenal do now, Johnny? Because that's a very, very important and very annoying goal to concede.
It's a very frustrating goal to concede. First of all, because they want a free kick from it. Second of all, because it's a deflection. We are now looking at a possible foul for that, possible VAR check for that foul. The Arsenal players ran straight to the referee. They feel like there was something in it. So we're going to have a VAR check. How long's this one going to go on for, Josh? We'll find out. At the moment, it's 1-1 here.
Thank you very much, Johnny. We are hearing that goal has just been given as I leave Johnny home. So Arsenal are back at All Square. Arsenal 1, Burnley 1, but they've got a whole second half to try and restore their advantage. We also have a goal in the Bundesliga.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And what an important goal it is, Matthew Key.
Yes, it's a goal for Stuttgart. They've turned it around, and it's no less than they deserve, Josh. And guess who it is? It is that man. Of course it's that man. Guirassy off the bench and scores. It was another penalty for Stuttgart. They missed one in the first half. Almost identical incidents, actually. Guirassy going through on goal, takes it around Kobel. Kobel brings him down. Penalty given, brief VAR check, but goal penalty stood, and up stood Guirassy. The penalty in the first half was weak. This one was strong, fierce, right-footed, left-hand corner. Kobel went the right way. There was nothing he could do about that. I have to say as well, Josh, I think Kobel can regard himself lucky to still be on the pitch, because he was booked in the first half for giving away a penalty, and I don't see how he can't be booked again in the second for giving away a penalty. So that's a slight surprise. Would have been controversial had he saved it, but he didn't. And Stuttgart now have 5 minutes to hold on to a massive win. 5 minutes to go here. Stuttgart 2, Dortmund 1.
There's goals everywhere because Arsenal and Man United have both just scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's Lindelof for Arsenal. It's Lindelof for Manchester United at Dowling.
It is, yeah. It was Marcus Rashford who worked the ball from a corner. He picks it up. It's really unfortunate. I think Tom Lockyer gives it away and he fires the ball across the edge of the box. Lindelof controls it and just turns it home. A pretty good goal for Manchester United, all things considered. They have been a lot better so far in this second half, and they get their just reward. 58 minutes gone here, 1-0 to the home side.
And Johnny Holmes, moments after Burnley getting back level, they've just conceded immediately after. They'll be devastated.
Oh, it's rule number 1. You score a goal and then you make sure you do not allow your opposition back into it. Burnley have done just that. A chance for Martinelli is turned behind by Trafford in goal. But from the resulting corner, Saliba rises higher than anyone else and nods it into the back of the net. Trossard's corner is right on the keeper, but there's so many bodies in and around that goal mouth that there's no chance that Trafford's going to get anywhere near that one. Saliba does. It's in the back of the net. Arsenal immediately restore their lead. 2-1 to Arsenal, 58 minutes played.
Wow. You've really got to catch your breath in all of this. Man United and Arsenal, both big goals for them, both very, very important goals for them. We've got to forget about Jordan Nicolai in the middle of that because we have some incidents going on with a chance for Palace, and Tarkowski seems like he's been the victim of a kick in the face, Jordan.
Yes, there was a chance for Palace. They are showing some fight. It was Eze count how many times I've said Eze in this report. Eze with the chance, and it was a good save from Pickford. He got his body behind it. And the incident with Tarkowski, it was a kick in the face. It was by Mark Guay. He was accidental though, and Tarkowski is okay. And he's really having a good game, Tarkowski. I would say both Everton centre-backs are having a good game. They really get the basics right, get their clearances right, get their passes right. And it's just frustrating Crystal Palace at the moment. Roy Hodgson really thinking what he can do to unlock this Everton defence. And the answer might be Michael Olise. Because so far, Everton just shoring things up as they continue to lead. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
Let's go to Ed Downing now, talk between that Man United goal. Ed, it's harsh on Luton, is it? Were Man United good for their goal? Do they deserve that?
I think on the balance of play, they probably do, Josh. They haven't really created any real clear-cut chances aside from Garnacho and Højlund's one in the first half, and even then, they were quite strange chances, really. In the second half, they have been a lot better. And the set piece, it doesn't directly come from the corner. It comes over and it's lofted a bit too far. Marcus Rashford picks it up in a lot of space, fires it across the box. They clear it, but they only clear it as far as Victor Lindelof, who on about the penalty spot just fires it home. Couldn't really miss from there, but he took it well. So on balance of play, it probably is deserved, but we'll have to see. Luton have to come out now, change their game plan, and you fear that they may ship a few more now, Josh, to be honest. I don't really think they've got the quality to defend and also get a goal at the same time. I think they can either really do one or the other. Or maybe that's patronising from me. I don't know, Josh.
Well, we're seeing that a lot from Luton, aren't we? Where they're in these games, but they're just not holding on, or they just haven't got the quality to see it out. Liverpool last week, we saw Tottenham and Wolves, where the opposition were both down to 10 men and they just couldn't quite capitalise. We're seeing that from them, aren't they? And that must be very annoying for their fans.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in terms of expectations, I'd be intrigued to know what a Luton fan would expect from this game. United are very poor, but I think if you concede first like that, 60 minutes gone, it's going to make your task very, very difficult. We saw them against Liverpool. They were really resolute, really strong, but they did take the lead first, which I think aids them greatly in getting a result. Coming back from a deficit is a whole different ask entirely, both mentally and numerically as well. And we're at Old Trafford, we're at probably the most esteemed ground in the Premier League. It's going to be really tough for them to get a result, but you never know the Premier League, do you? 62 minutes gone. They're on the break here, but it is cleared by McTominay. We'll see what happens, Josh. We'll see what happens. But 63 minutes played now. It is 1-0 to the hosts.
For Manchester United, Ed, I mean, this performance, if they were to win this game, it doesn't silence any critics, does it?
It depends. It depends if they can go and get a few more. Maybe. I'm not too sure. I think it's kind of damned if you don't with Ten Hag. If he beats them, everyone's going to say, well, you expected to beat them. And if he doesn't beat them, obviously he's going to probably get sacked, let's be real. So he just needs to put in a convincing display here for his team, Erik Ten Hag. And I think they've just about done that so far. It's not been amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but they've done enough to hopefully, from the Man United perspective, get the 3 points. But we'll see what happens. A long way to go still.
I mean, it's a result that brings them up to sixth in the table, doesn't it? On 21 points, which is only 6 points behind Manchester City. I know they've got a game in hand, but that's not bad at all. The way the media narrative and the way we've been talking, you think they were, near the relegation zone.
I think it's more sort of the eye test, if you will, with Manchester United especially. And I think points on the board at this stage are very important, but league position doesn't mean too much, I would say, at this stage of the season. I'd expect Chelsea to be up there towards the end. And I think Man United, they haven't played, their fixture list has been fairly kind to them so far. They've got a run of really tricky games after this one. I think they're going away to Liverpool and they're facing Newcastle as well in the league. So if they don't beat Luton here, you'd really have to worry. But they're doing what's expected of them so far, and that's all you can really ask at this stage, I guess, Josh.
So let's go to the Bundesliga and to Matthew Key. 5 minutes added on, 5 minutes for Stuttgart to get a historic win.
Yeah, and it's looking like that is the way it's going to end up, Josh, because the game's sort of reversed now. Stuttgart able to play on the counter-attack as Dortmund throw men forward, but to be honest, it's not really creating that many attacking opportunities. So poor Borussia Dortmund, only 5 shots in the whole game here as we're now into the 92nd minute. Just one on target. The Fulkrug goal is all they have to show for it. It's been so disappointing after such a good result in Europe. This is going to be a massive blow to them as they're going to fall further behind Bayern Munich, obviously, and of course Stuttgart, who came into this one ahead of them in the table anyway. And of course, Bayer Leverkusen yet to play this weekend. This has been really poor for Borussia Dortmund, but credit's got to go to Stuttgart. They've been fantastic, pushed for the winner the whole of the second half, and they fully deserved it, to be honest. They've got about 3 minutes to hold on to what will be a fantastic win, especially after a difficult couple of weeks. It's Stuttgart 2, Dortmund 1.
And they're now 2. Let's go to Johnny Holmes. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. Arsenal. Hang on, no, wait. Before we do, let's go to Ed Dowling quickly, because apparently Man United is sitting back. A change in tactics, a bizarre one.
Yeah, just thought I'd point that out. It's United seem to have dropped about 10 yards at home to Burnley, and I can't hear what the fans are sort of saying right now. But really bizarre to suddenly go drop so much deeper than they were playing before. Surely the intent would be to go and get the second. And we've seen from Man United before, they can open the scoring and play well, and then they retreat into themselves. And maybe that's what's happening here, or maybe it's tactical change. Whether it will pay off, I don't know. But Luton, the last 5 minutes since you last spoke to me, they've had all of the ball, which I was not expecting to say. We've just seen a shot there flash wide from one of the Luton midfielders. So, a bit of a bizarre change of tact there, but we'll see if it pays off.
Stuttgart winning 2-1, 94th minute. They're so close to a really big win for them. Augsburg and Hoffenheim is currently 1-1. Bayern Munich behind Heidenheim in the Bundesliga 4-2. Darmstadt and Mainz is 0-0. And coming up at 5:30 is Bochum v FC Cologne. We're going to head over now to Johnny Holmes. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. What's the response been since that goal?
Well, we heard about Manchester United sitting back after taking the lead against Luton at Old Trafford. Well, at the Emirates, Arsenal doing the complete opposite. They've still got the ball. They're still trying to get another goal. They're still pressing forward against Burnley here. A dangerous corner by Leandro Trossard, who has been brilliant today. He's had a little bit of a knock against the post, but that happened while scoring a goal, and he also got an assist for Saliba's goal. So a goal and an assist for Trossard, who whipped in a dangerous corner, but Burnley were able to scramble clear. Arsenal looking good for their lead, and looking good for getting a couple more perhaps here today. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1.
Arsenal, I mean, were you really impressed by their response? I mean, they may be in a bit accused when they conceded goals of not responding in the right manner, but that was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, perfect. Only a couple of minutes later, they, of course, were pegged back by Burnley, but Arsenal stepped on the gas immediately and went back ahead through Saliba's goal from Trossard's corner. And that's just the response you want at home in front of your fans when it's a chance for the away side to get their tails up and start thinking, we can get something out of this. You silence them immediately. That's what Arsenal have done, and they look very, very good for their lead.
I guess those few minutes, Johnny, for Burnley really summed up their season so far.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley are a side that came into the Premier League possibly expected more than the other two sides, of course, Sheffield United and Luton, to maybe mix it with the big boys. And they've shown glimpses, and they showed a glimpse there, getting back into the game, coming out in the second half, threatening Arsenal. But then, as you say, story of the season, they switched off, lost concentration, and they're back behind again.
2-1 there. Stuttgart have just run out winners in the Bundesliga. Johnny Holmes, not Johnny Holmes, Matthew Key. Absolutely brilliant performance from them. And rightful winners, that's a big 3 points after a bit of a slump.
Yeah, what an atmosphere here in Germany, Josh. The crowd have had a difficult couple of weeks, but wow, that's a bit of a fairy tale win, that one. So good throughout the game, and despite going behind, never dropped, never looked like they were in much trouble, to be honest with you. Responded quickly through Dennis Undav, and then it was almost written in the stars that in a tight game where Stuttgart were having most of the chances, Guirassy would be coming on and taking one of them to score the winning goal. That's exactly what happened. It came from the spot, and he wasn't deterred by the fact Kobel saved a penalty in the first half, stood up confidently like someone that's scored as many goals as he has this season and stuck it away brilliantly. What a fantastic win for Stuttgart. What a brilliant performance. What an atmosphere their fans are creating, and a bad day at the office for Borussia Dortmund. Full time here in Germany, thoroughly deserved 3 points for Stuttgart. They are 2-1 winners over Borussia Dortmund.
Crystal Palace trailing to Everton after an early Decore goal in the second half. They've not found their way through yet, Jordan Nicolai. However, they've just had a really good opportunity to do so.
Yeah, great opportunity. It was Jefferson Lerma. He played a ball over the top to Odsonne Edouard, and then he ran the full length of the pitch, Jefferson Lerma, because it was him, after playing the initial pass, that almost scored. Edouard played it back into his path, and he got the shot wrong, put it wide of the target, when really and truly he was under no pressure. He should have done much better with that opportunity. Good news, though, for Crystal Palace fans. Michael Olise is on. Jeffrey Schlupp has come off his 250th game. Jeffrey Schlupp doesn't come with a goal, but Michael Olise is on for Crystal Palace, so maybe that will turn the screw for them, because Everton are defending superbly. Branthwaite and Tarkowski have put in some great challenges, but I wonder if they'll be able to stop the magic feet of Michael Olise. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
Dangerous free kick for Luton, which then followed by a nice chance of Rashford.
Yeah, really good chance for Rashford, actually. He felt if he just cut in a bit more on his right foot and opted to sort of bend it around the goalie rather than just smash it, we could have been seeing a second goal and putting the game beyond doubt for Man United. But the keeper, Kaminsky, saved well. And now we've got a dangerous Luton free kick about 25 yards out from the goal. We're seeing one of their players get replaced. I'm not sure exactly who it is at this time, but it doesn't look like he can continue. And Rob Edwards will have to make a change there. But it's a really good chance here for Luton. There's been a bit of a stoppage after that player going down. But we'll see if they can make something from that. I know Tahith Chong, former United man, is now on the field. See if he can make a difference. And Anthony has joined the fray too for Garnacho. So we'll see what kind of impact those players can make. But there should be a bit of added time now. About 20 minutes left to go. I expect there to be a lot more after this big stoppage here, Josh.
For teams like Luton, when they do fall behind and they end up chasing games, it becomes really difficult for them, doesn't it? Because they don't have the abilities on the bench. You know, they have got Chong, who's a very good player, but for them, you know, when chasing it, their hands are tied a bit.
No, absolutely. And I think from set pieces or chances like this, they have to absolutely maximise everything they can get out of them. A dangerous free kick like that, you have to try and convert that, corners, free kicks, etc. That's what they need to be targeting. I think Rob Edwards is really changing something here. It's Doughty, the player that has gone off injured. But they have to maximise those little advantages. I think that's the key, especially the lower you go down the table. Going 1-0 down at Old Trafford is not easy for any team, let alone Luton Town. But if they can make the most of these chances that they are getting here, you know, let it not be mistaken, they are getting chances. You know, they could come away with something here today.
The Jordan Nicolai, where Crystal Palace, they're getting so close to getting that equaliser, and Olise is the next culprit for missing his chances.
Yes, Palace are really putting the pressure on. Jordan Pickford is not happy at all with his defence, because Olise was able to pretty much do what he wanted. He was able to turn, twist. He linked up well with Eze, and then he got the ball back and he tried to curl it into the far corner, but it was just over and wide. He actually took a deflection, that shot, but Jordan Pickford was not happy, because the Crystal Palace fans are starting to believe, and rightfully so, because they are putting the pressure on, and with Eze and Olise, they can potentially get back into this game, because all Everton are doing is defending. They are defending well, but there is still a lot of time left in this match. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
For Arsenal on the Emirates, they're leading 2-1 here, aren't they, Johnny Holmes? Any more updates in that game?
It's been just some very delicate, very poised and very calm Arsenal possession. Not really challenged the Burnley goal, but they're 2-1 up and they know it. They're just stroking the ball around, working Burnley back and forth. It must be very tiring for the away side just to watch these passes flashing by them. And Burnley not really showed much in the last few minutes that suggests they're going to be able to get back into this game. But their goal, of course, did come as a slight surprise. It did come against the run of play. So this game's certainly not over, and it would be unwise for Arsenal to lower their defences. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1, 72 minutes played.
We know that Arsenal are very dangerous, aren't they? Sorry, Burnley are very dangerous, especially with their attack. But as we say that, the game should be buried and finished.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
As we leave Johnny Holmes, Arsenal have got their third, and that should be the game done now. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. We were Johnny Holmes were describing how it must be very tiring for them. Before I go any further, Crystal Palace have just scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Drama injected into the veins of Football Live because Crystal Palace have followed up that Arsenal goal with a goal of their own. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2 again. John McCarthy described how Crystal Palace, they've been knocking on that door. They were coming really close. Chances from all parties in that Crystal Palace team. They were missing them, but they finally got clinical. They've got that goal, and it's 2-2. And as for Arsenal, Johnny Holmes said how Arsenal were just passing it around Burnley, and it must have been very tiring for them. Well, unfortunately, all that passing was done exactly what it should do, and they found the back of the net with that. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. Johnny Holmes, tell us about the goal.
It's a goal for Zinchenko. It comes from a corner again. The Trossard corner has been a very, very dangerous outlet for Arsenal. This time it isn't headed into the back of the net immediately. It comes, in fact, about 8 yards out to Zinchenko. Around the penalty spot, in fact, perhaps 12 yards. And Zinchenko's got a lot to do. There's a lot of bodies in front of him to try and blast it through, so he doesn't blast it through. It's an acrobatic effort, reminiscent of the Paolo Di Canio sort of kick into the back of the net, over the crowd. It loops up into the back of the net. It's a brilliant, brilliant finish. It's very crafty from Zinchenko. Read the situation and found the answer. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. Surely now Arsenal will take home all 3 points. 74 minutes played.
It promises to be an action-packed afternoon of football tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, right here on Brila FM. 5 big matches in the Premier League, including Chelsea against Manchester City. That's the late kick-off. Before that, 4 other big games. West Ham United against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool look to close in on the leaders with a home game against Brentford. Aston Villa's home form is second to none. They entertain Fulham, and Brighton take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Dean Kilford, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Chelsea take on Man City, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Blues or the Citizens, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on Chelsea versus Man City, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5, must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What you're talking about now? They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brila FM every Saturday and Sunday.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Live. We ended that ad break with loads of goals, and we're going to head off to Crystal Palace Everton now, because it was Crystal Palace who got the equaliser there. There was a VAR check, but the goal stands. Crystal Palace are level.
Yes, Crystal Palace are back into this game. It's Odsonne Edouard. He's had a bit of a poor game, but he's made amends. It was a header from Where was the header from? I'm just trying to recall who the header was from. It wasn't from Eze, I'll tell you that much. It was from Jefferson Lerma. Headed it into the, Edouard's path. And as cool as you like, he took it down well and then just stroked it past Pickford. It was actually Tarkowski who was caught sleeping because Edouard was right behind him. Maybe he thought Edouard was offside. The VAR check was a long check. That's probably why I forgot who got the assist. It was that long. But Edouard scores, the goal was given, and Palace are back into this game. And dare I say, Palace may go on to win this game because they have been piling the pressure on. Edouard was probably about to come off because Mateta was stripped off and ready to come on, but Roy Hodgson has actually held back on making that change. He knows that his striker may be confident and ready to get more goals as Palace push for a winner. It's Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2.
Crystal Palace do deserve that goal, don't they, Jordan? I mean, all you've said today is how they're in the. I mean, the whole game they've seemed to be the better side, and Everton really have been riding their luck.
Definitely, yeah, I'm definitely sticking with that. Crystal Palace have deserved to get all 3 points. I give credit to Everton's defence. Everton's defence has been phenomenal. Some great challenges, some great clearances, some great blocks, but their attack pretty much has been non-existent. Calvert-Lewin, he's come off for Beto. He's not done anything in this match. He's not held up the ball. Harrison's, shown little signs of being lively, but it's not been enough in the attack for Everton. It's been all Crystal Palace, and they deserve the win. However, football doesn't always work out like that. So both teams could share the points. If it was to be a draw, this would actually be Roy Hodgson's 100th draw in the Premier League. Not a stat that he wants to hear. He wants to win today, I'm sure. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2.
Yeah, and they've got 10 minutes to try and do that. Let's go to Ed Downing now. Manchester United 1, Luton 0. Are Man United holding on, or are they pressing for that second, Ed Downing?
Now starting to press a bit more aggressively, I think, for the second goal. But there's some unfortunate news from the United camp as Rasmus Højlund has hobbled off the field. Earlier concerns that he might have done his hamstring, especially he was holding the muscle. He looked to be in some discomfort, and he has been replaced now, along with Sergio Reguilon, who I believe has left the field for Rafa Varane. Luton don't really look like doing much in the last 10 minutes. They're not really. There's no penetration there. The quality just isn't there in midfield. If I'm being truthful, Ross Barkley, he's not really. He's flattered to deceive so far. To be truthful with you, Josh, if anything happens in the last 10, I'll be sure to let you know. But it looks like United are going to grind out this win with a 1-0 result, which, to be honest, doesn't really look too good on paper. But they have been the better side today. 83 minutes gone, it is 1-0 to Manchester United against Luton Town.
Johnny Holmes, because the last time we heard from him, Arsenal were just taking that 3-1 lead. Does that goal signify the end of Burnley's hopes and dreams of getting anything from this game?
It certainly feels like it. It's quite the mountain to climb for Burnley here. They've got to find 2 goals in 10 minutes plus added time. A couple of substitutions for Arsenal. We're seeing Bukayo Saka coming off for Nelson, and also we're seeing Nketiah coming on for Trossard. Trossard, who of course had that rush with the post, which looked like it may have caused some damage to the arm. He's managed to continue and get another assist, and his corners have been a threat all day long. So substitutions for Arsenal. I think they'll look to see this one out now. Pretty dominant performance in the second half. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, 82 minutes played.
It was comfortable, but Arsenal have just received a red card, and that could give a little bit of hope for Burnley, because I was Johnny Holmes just describing there pretty much cruise control for Arsenal, but that red card will wake Burnley up and maybe, just maybe, crack the door open for a comeback. We'll get to Johnny Holmes soon for that. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, Arsenal with the red card. That is incredibly, incredibly unfortunate. Those are our 3 games so far. Earlier in the Premier League today, it was Tottenham who lost to Wolves 2-1 earlier. Wolves who peppered the Tottenham goal all game. But Spurs led for an early Brennan Johnson goal. And then from that point onwards, it was all Wolves in the second half that took things up a gear. But it was Sarabia who came on and changed the game on his head. He made things tick. He put the tempo up. And in the end, that was the reason that Wolves won that game. 2 late stoppage time goals. We saw the 3-point stay in Molineux, and heartbreak for Ange Postecoglou's team. Lost so many players through injury and suspension. And that's now 2 defeats in about 6 days for the team after their unbeaten start. Let's go to Johnny Holmes now. Tell us about this Fabio Vieira red that could potentially change the whole outcome of this game.
Yeah, it's Fabio Vieira, as you say, and it's on the captain Brownhill, who scored, of course, Burnley's equaliser. So the ball is bouncing, it's bobbling, and Vieira leads with the studs, and he leads high with the studs. That is something you just don't do in the modern game. In this day and age, if you lead with the studs and go high and make contact with your man, there's only one result. He is protesting it. He can't believe it. Maybe he should believe it. It's a dangerous tackle. Studs are in the air. Only one result. Red card. Fabio Vieira. Arsenal now, are they under a bit of pressure here? 3-1 they lead. There's 7 minutes left of normal time for Burnley to find a way back in against 10-men Arsenal.
Do you think they will find a way back in this game, Johnny? Do you think that red card just comes a little bit too late for Burnley?
Well, we saw, of course, in midweek in the Champions League with Manchester United, of course, a very different scenario going on at Old Trafford. But against Copenhagen, of course, in the Champions League, they struggled when they went down to 10 men and shipped 2 goals immediately. Burnley have got to do a similar job, but Arsenal, you would think, would have the ability to see this game out now a lot better than United were able to in midweek.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. We're coming towards the last 5 minutes, plus stoppage time in the English Premier League. Manchester United leading Luton by 1-0. Manchester United are 1.06, so literally next to nothing. The draw, Ed Downing probably can tell us more if they got a chance of getting a draw. They're 12.0, Ed. Let us know if it's worth putting a punt on that one. 12.0 for a draw in that game, and if it's actually, in fact, it's just gone down to 11.0. So, Ed, go on, tell us shortly why is that going down. And Luton away win, if you think you'll score 2 goals in a minute, they're 101.0. Arsenal Burnley, we just seen Arsenal are leading with 3-1, but they've just had Vieira sent off. 5 minutes to go. Can Burnley come back and get at least a draw? Well, if you think so, they are 26.0 for a draw and 101 for Burnley. I can tell you, I'm going to do that for you, Josh. There's been a goal at Crystal Palace.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, there's been a goal at Palace. Now it's Palace 2, Everton 3. Hence why I can't give you any odds on that, because it's been suspended. Quickly on the other games that are happening at the moment. Spanish La Liga, Almeria are losing at home to Real Sociedad by 1-0. 72 minutes gone. Almeria at home, they're 34.0 for the win. The draw has gone down to 6.0, and Real Sociedad away win is 1.36. The other games, the French League it's half-time. It's Stade Reims 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1. A goal from Kylian Mbappe. And who else? And the odds on Reims are 11.0. The draw is 4.50. And PSG are 1.36. Just go back to the Man United game, Ed. It's 10.0. It's just gone down to 10.0. Oh, it's gone up again to 13.0 for the draw. I was trying to make something, but it's gone down 11.0. So, Ed, please, and Josh, let us know why the odds are changing in Luton's favour.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you for stealing my job as well. Yes, Everton are leading in that game 3-2 now. No matter what Crystal Palace throw at them, no matter how many times Crystal Palace keep coming back, Everton have not been deterred. And that third goal puts them in front, and you feel that could be the nail in the Crystal Palace coffin. That's the third time for them to come back now, Palace. And you just feel that's a step too far for them. But no matter how, I might be proved wrong. Roy Hodgson has been around a longer time than I have. So let's see what he has got up his sleeve. We're going to go to Arsenal because Burnley, they're playing against 10 men and they've just had a chance.
They have indeed. How this game may have changed. Arsenal were cruising, but then the red card for Fabio Vieira, deservedly so. And forward come Burnley. It was a corner whipped in for the away side, and it was flicked on at the near post by O'Shea. It looked like it had Raya scrambling, but it just dropped onto the top of the goal there. Bit of a sigh of relief. Burnley are going to need a goal in the next few minutes, but they are pressing forward. Pressure on Arsenal, who lead by 3-1 at the Emirates. 87 minutes played.
That goal was absolutely crucial, isn't it, for Burnley? They need it kind of now, otherwise you feel like it will just go a bit too far. We are going to go to Jordan O'Connor but that Everton goal that's put them up in front.
Yes, against the run of play, Everton have scored what might be the winner. Sean Dyche won't say it at the end of the match, but he has been lucky today because Everton have just been clinical. That has been the difference. But credit to them, credit to Decore, an eye of the needle pass to find Idrissa Gueye, who made a run from deep, and his run was not tracked by any Palace defender, and he took it like a striker. Great first touch with his right foot, then finished it with his left foot into the bottom corner. What should be the winner for Everton, the Palace players, they can't believe it. They're thinking we've played the better out of the two sides, but that doesn't matter. Everton have put the ball in the back of the net more times than Crystal Palace. That's all that matters. Idrissa Gueye scores, one of the most unlikeliest of sources. A Sean Dyche special here at Crystal Palace. He loves playing against Crystal Palace. Everton love playing against Crystal Palace. It's Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3.
Old Trafford is full of nerves right now, where darling, because Luton have got 8 minutes to try and get that equaliser, and well, you can feel the tension in the stadium, can't you?
You can, yeah. It's as soon as that number went up, you felt the collective groan or the sigh of anxiety there from the Old Trafford faithful. And they've got no real logical reason to be like that. Luton haven't really done anything this second half, I have to say. But you know what football's like, and I know what Manchester United have been like at the moment. And they're very, very vulnerable, especially at the ends of games. You saw against Copenhagen on Tuesday, they conceded 2 goals, I think, in the last 5 minutes to lose the game. Whether that will happen here today, I think would be quite unlikely, but we'll have to see. I mean, John's just saying the odds there of a draw at 12-1. Would I put my money on that? I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. I suspect they would change pretty soon, though. I can't see Luton getting up the field to actually create a chance. It has to come from the set piece or something. But you never know. You never know with football. You never know with Manchester United. I've just seen Rashford dribble the ball out of play there for a goal kick. So maybe the tide is turning. We've got 7 more minutes left. Come back to me if there is a goal, Josh.
What about Chong, Ed? I mean, as for him, is he, playing against Manchester United? You feel like he's going to be the one to do anything just because of fate and the way things present themselves? Has he been in the game?
He just lost the ball there. As you were describing, he just lost the ball. But he is getting past him quite frequently. We've just seen Rashford get fouled right on the edge of the box there. Really dangerous free kick for Manchester United. And Lockyer getting a booking for his troubles as well. And he's not very happy about that. But he's played okay. He's come on about 20 minutes ago. He's received the ball. He's passed it out quite well. But really, he's getting overwhelmed in the midfield there. There's not really a lot he can do, I think, to break out of that midfield trap United have been setting. Rashford's just standing over a very dangerous free kick here, about 20 yards out. I suspect this could be really dangerous for the home side and could put the game beyond all reasonable doubt. So I'd hold off on your bets until this is resulted. But 5 minutes left to go. 1-0 still to Manchester United.
Johnny, 6 minutes added on time at Emirates. 2 goals in 6 minutes. Surely not.
Surely not. Surely Arsenal will be able to dig in. That's what they've been doing so far. But it's Burnley who are coming forward. They've suddenly grasped this game. They're trying to find something from it. They're coming forward. They're whipping balls into the box. They're winning corners. If anyone's going to score next, it's going to be the 11 men of Burnley, the away side, not the 10 men of Arsenal, the home side, who lead by 3-1. But Burnley piling on the pressure. 91 minutes played. 5 minutes of the added time to go.
8 minutes added on between Everton and Crystal Palace. I mean, with the way Crystal Palace have responded time and time again, Jordan Nicolai, you really wouldn't put it past them with that much time added on, getting a goal.
Yeah, 8 minutes added on. That is a long time, but when that goal went in, you could just feel the wind get knocked out of the Palace cells. I don't know if they've got enough in them to fight and get it back, but they've got no choice but to fight. They might as well throw the kitchen sink at Everton, because losing 3-2 is no different than really losing 4-2, is it? So they really have to go for it. Everton will be trying to hit them on the counter. Could be a chance. They have got Eze, Elise, Mateta on, and they could perhaps get this equaliser. I'm not sure if I see it happening against this Everton defence, but we will see. 8 minutes added on. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3.
A penalty check at Emirates, but Blahoud, Johnny Holmes.
It's for Burnley. by the looks of things, very confusing moment there. VAR checking a possible penalty against Zinchenko for handball when it quite clearly made contact with the top of his head. From the naked eye, we could see that here, and I don't think anyone really expected a penalty to be given. There's been pressure on VAR recently, and maybe they just felt the need to make absolutely double, triple, quadruple sure. They've done that. No chance for a penalty, but forward Burnley come again. 92 minutes played.
Burnley not getting the luck they need, and you feel like that is going to be the game for them there. That 10 men giving them a little bit of hope, but unfortunately they have not capitalised. Go to Man United now because Bruno Fernandes had an opportunity to put the game to bed from a free kick, but Downing, it wasn't up to standard.
It wasn't. I felt sorry for the guys at the Stretford end there because nearly got a ball to the face. It wasn't very good at all. We've just seen Erik ten Hag get booked by the referee, which is quite a rare sight because he doesn't usually lose his temper too often. He's quite a cool, calm, composed manager on the touchline, but we've just seen the referee go over to him and show him the yellow card. He's moaning about something. I'm not too sure what it is, to be fair. We've got about 3 minutes. The nerves are starting to die down here, I'd say, a little bit. I think the crowd are convinced that Luton aren't really capable of pulling anything out of the bag. They're giving away silly fouls. And United are managing this last sort of 10 minutes or so quite well. They've played well in the second half, to be fair to them, and Luton are defending very deep. Has it been an awe-inspiring performance for the home side? Probably not, no, Josh.
Thank you, Ed Dowling. Bournemouth v Newcastle United is coming up at 5:30. Unfortunately, not on Football Live, but the teams are as follows. For Newcastle United, it's Nick Pope, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Jamal Lascelles, Joe Linton, Anthony Gordon, Lewis Hall, Miguel Almiron, Joe Willock, Sean Longstaff, and Lewis Miley starting today. That's a debut for Lewis Miley. Then as for Bournemouth, it's Neto in goal with Lewis Cook, Lloyd Kelly, Dominic Solanke, Ryan Christie, Marcus Tavernier, Justin Cliver, Antoine Semenyo, Marcus Sensai, Ilya Zambani, and Max Aaron starting for Bournemouth today, who got their first win last time out, and they definitely need another win today, especially if they're trying to propel themselves up the relegation zone. Let's go to Arsenal now. 3-1, 95 minutes gone there. Game is probably over. Arsenal fans can start to breathe, Johnny Holmes.
I would say so, yeah. And Jay Rodriguez has just given a free kick away in the Arsenal box, which relieves some of the pressure. Burnley were coming forward. They were trying to pile it on, but they still need 2 goals. 6 minutes were added on. We've played 4 of them. It's getting desperate for Burnley now. Surely too late. And Jay Rodriguez has just rather relieved the pressure on Arsenal by giving that free kick away. And Arsenal have booted the ball way down the field. It's a Burnley throw in, but it's way back in their own half. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, 94 minutes played.
An Arsenal win that's going to take them above Spurs into second place, but not quite top of the league. Let's go Manchester United, 96 minutes, 1-0 there. He said Old Trafford was a bag of nerves. Have Luton up the pressure at all? Or are they still looking quite timid in attack?
We just had a shot on target from Luton. Pretty crazy stuff here. That's the first one of the second half for them. But Onana dives on it pretty easily. It's not challenging him at all. And we're into the sort of final seconds here. I don't think anything's going to come of this game, Josh, from truth be told, for the away side.
So Jordan Nicolai, because Beto has just had a chance. That would have been game, set, match for Everton, but Crystal Palace is still in it with that miss.
Yes, that would have put the nail in the coffin for sure. Beto did well, took down the ball, got past the defender, went for the shot across goal, but it just was wide of the target. Of course, Everton are going to have chances with the amount of men that Crystal Palace are throwing forward, and that would have been it. Only a few minutes left for Crystal Palace. Like I said, it seemed as if that goal knocked the wind out of their sails. They're fighting, but not really giving it the kitchen sink per se. But still some time left for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3.
Full time, and Manchester United, they have won 1-0 at Arsenal. Burnley have just had a big chance, and then that would have made the last few seconds a little bit uncomfortable, Johnny Holmes, but I don't think it would have made a big difference to the result.
Oh, if they were going to get back into this one, that had to go. It's Burnley's first clear-cut chance since Arsenal went down to 10 men. It's a ball across the box by Larsson. Two substitutes linking up. It's Larsson into Obafemi, and Obafemi's there. He's got to put it into the back of the net. He's got to steer it goalwards. It is coming at him at pace. It's difficult to deal with, but you've got to take those chances against sides like Arsenal. He wasn't able to do so. He directs it wide of the goal, and surely time running out for Burnley now. We've played an extra minute on top of the added time. We're now into added time on top of added time, but Burnley still need 2 goals. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, 97 minutes played.
Crystal Palace pushing for an equaliser at Everton. John Nicola, you said the winds have been knocked out that sail, and they've just got one last gust to push them along.
They're really pushing. Everyone is forward literally now for Crystal Palace, but they're just not getting the ball into the box quick enough. A lot of passes outside of the box, but they need to just throw something in there. They've got the big striker Mateta on, but just not enough crosses into the box. I'm sure there'll be one last chance. In fact, there has been a free kick given. Olise was taken down. So maybe come back to me. Maybe Palace are going to have one last swing at it and maybe pull something out of this match. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3.
Arsenal are still playing against Burnley, Johnny Holmes. What is going on?
Little bit of a stoppage in play here as we see Vincent Kompany prowling along his touchline. He might be feeling that the game is slipping away. Yeah, we played 98 minutes and only 6 were added on. It's an injury break because of Jorginho getting some attention. In fact, there is blood on the back of the head of the Arsenal man. A clash of heads perhaps, but this only wastes more and more time. And that's time that Burnley desperately need if they're to get back into this one. Surely too late now. 98 minutes played. And we've played 2 minutes extra than the 6 that were added on. 3-1 to Arsenal as it stands.
Nearly into the 100th minute there. Crystal Palace and Everton have just finished their game. So Everton somehow, despite Palace being the better team the whole game and bringing them back twice, have come out winners in that game. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3. That's a huge win for the Toffees. And Sean Dyche's men for Crystal Palace, well, they still can't get back-to-back wins. That would have been their first back-to-back win since April when Roy Hodgson first took in charge. Arsenal is in the 100th minute now, and I think the full-time whistle has just gone. Yeah, the full-time whistle has just gone there. So Arsenal, they've won that game 3-1. On that full-time whistle, let's get some results. Let's get the full-time reports around the ground. We will start then with Ed Dowling. Manchester United 1, Luton 0. Ed, the first half was very mediocre and was plagued by the issues, or was riddled with the issues that have plagued Man United all season. But came the second half, they got their goal, and from that point onwards, Luton were never really in the game.
Yeah, job done. Job done here for Erik ten Hag. I think that's exactly what he needed. The only real sort of dark cloud over Old Trafford today is Rasmus Højlund potentially being injured there. Didn't look good for him. And the fact they didn't score more goals. They didn't really create too much. They definitely created enough to win the game, put it that way. They didn't create a bag of chances, though. Luton Town, as for them, I don't, was it really poor? Like, do you have to adjust your expectations? Didn't really offer anything going forward. Defensively resolute, but ultimately they just don't have enough quality to beat Man United at Old Trafford, I think, this time around. And yeah, much needed result for Erik ten Hag and his Manchester United side. How they play against stronger opposition, which they'll face in the coming weeks, remains to be seen, but they did enough today to get the win, and that's the most important thing. So it finished here at Old Trafford, 1-0 to the home side.
One takeaway from this game, Ed, what would it be?
My one takeaway would be, I thought Harry Maguire was really good today, actually. He didn't have to deal with too much, but no mistakes whatsoever from him. A really quite imperious display from him at the back, which kind of goes to show that all these issues around Man United, it never really is one player. It's never just Bruno Fernandes. It's a collective thing. But he played very well today, so it's worth giving him some credit after, years, really, of torment for him, I can imagine.
Thank you very much, Ed Dowling. Good job today. Man United 1, Luton 0. Let's go to Johnny Holmes now. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. Arsenal took the lead in the first, late in the second half, thanks to Leonardo Trossard. Burnley, they pegged them back early in the second, Johnny Holmes, but Arsenal immediately responded and was pretty much cruising until Fabio Vieira was injured. So for Arsenal, 3 points, job done, and a very good performance from them.
A strong performance indeed from Arsenal that was thrown into slight jeopardy by that 83rd minute Fabio Vieira red card, but they rode through the storm in the end and got all 3 points on the board. Trossard was a threat throughout, scoring first and also getting the assist when Saliba headed Arsenal back in front in the second half because Josh Brownhill pegged them back with a 54th minute goal. Zinchenko then with a hooked effort, Paolo Di Canio-esque, into the back of the net from a corner, put Arsenal 3-1 to the good, and Fabio Vieira's red card and going down to 10 men didn't affect them too badly in the end. They were able to hold on. 3-1 Arsenal, 3 more points as they look to get their title challenge back on track.
Your one takeaway from this game, Johnny?
My one takeaway is that Arsenal played some absolutely beautiful football, and maybe they're going to start finding a rhythm now going forward. This is I would say, the best performance from Arsenal we've seen, possibly all season until that red card, because they looked silky, smooth, and fantastic in attack. The passes were being strung together beautifully. They look a threat. Maybe they can go on a march now.
As for Burnley, Johnny, I mean, it's not looking good for them this season, is it? They just cannot seem to be competitive in games.
No, and I do think it's down to style of play, and what they did in the Championship was able to see them blowing opposition aside with their attacking football, their stylish football under company. But in the Premier League, that's just not going to wash, because teams like Arsenal can turn up and match that and then go one better, go two better, find 3 or 4 gears on you. And it's hard to keep up with that if you're a side like Burnley, where perhaps the attacking talent can't quite match the rest of the league around you. So it's going to be very tough, and maybe company's got to rethink a few basic principles today.
For Arsenal as well, then, sitting pretty second in the league now, above Spurs. Obviously, it's been a few shaky few weeks, losing to West Ham last week, but they obviously won in the Champions League this week as well. There's a good team there, isn't there? And like you say, maybe this can just kick them on and help them, make them challenge Manchester City.
Yeah, it needs to be blunt about it, because Manchester City don't drop points in the second half of seasons. We've seen that. We've seen City be perfectly capable of going ahead and winning the last 10 games of a Premier League season. So if Arsenal are going to stand any chance, they need to be there or thereabouts, if not ahead of Manchester City going into the run-in, because when Pep Guardiola's side get their heads down, they cannot be beaten. Arsenal have got to do something to put them into a compromising position. They led most of the Premier League last year and still lost it at the end. Was that due to bottling it? Was that due to Man City being imperious at the end of the season? We shall see, because I do think it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to keep up once again.
Thank you very much, Johnny Holmes. And finally, to Jordan Nicolo, who's watching over, who was watching over Crystal Palace beat Everton. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3 there. Jordan, a really good game, actually. Loads of goals, loads of action, and Crystal Palace should probably feel hard done by.
Yes, it was a very enjoyable game. The way it started off is the way it ended. Everton started strong, a goal in the early stages by Mikalenko, and then it was Palace who equalised through Abera Chiesa, who was probably looking at man of the match, but can't give him man of the match. It probably has to go to one of the Everton defenders, because they did well to keep them in this game. They did well because, like I said, the attack didn't really show up. Goal from Decore, and then an equaliser from Edouard, but the most important goal was the match winner from Idrissa Gana Gueye, just at the end. Great assist from Decore, great finish from him. The Senegalese midfielder wins it for Everton, and yes, Crystal Palace will feel hard done by, because they did have the better of the ball, did have the better of the possession, but at the end of the day, it was a Sean Dyche special. They defended, and that kept them in the game. And once you're in the game, you still have a chance to get goals. And that's what they did. And it ends Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3.
For Everton, Jordan, like you say, a Sean Dyche special. We spoke all the way how they're kind of turning their season around. They're doing really well under Sean Dyche, aren't they? And Everton fans, this is just another win that will really please them.
Definitely. Yeah, they might not be enjoying the football that their team is playing, but I'm sure they won't really care. It's another win. They're unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games. Really impressive, really impressive stuff from Sean Dyche. He really has turned things around. He's got them playing his style of football, and it's working. So if you're an Everton fan, you just definitely got to be smiling, because your team is not looking at a relegation battle, I'll tell you that much. A big win here today gets them 1 point just behind Crystal Palace and moves them up the table.
Thank you very much, Jordan Okolai. Thank you very much to all our producers, all our reporters today. You've watched a fantastic show. And it's been really fun. And looking over the results from today, then Arsenal in the 12:30 kickoff, Tottenham lost 2-1 to Wolves. It was Wolves 2. Tottenham won a late turnaround for Gary O'Neill's men. Arsenal, they beat Burnley 3-1. Crystal Palace, they lost to Everton 3-2 at Selhurst Park. And the Manchester United beat Luton 1-0 in the Bundesliga as well. We saw Borussia Dortmund lose to Stuttgart. Stuttgart winning 2-1 there. And Lecce beating AC Milan, drawing AC Milan. They nearly beat AC Milan. A last-minute goal ruled out for VAR. 2-2 there. And in the Sunderland game, they ran out winners 3-1 with Birmingham. We are back tomorrow with Dean Kilford on our Sunday show. But for now, thank you to the team reporters. Thank you to John Kane, who was a producer and stepped in as a presenter. And we will see you all tomorrow.